Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
you just got caught live saying that. So, some Anchorman references to start the YouTube side here. Welcome, YouTube, to episode Roundtable 162. We were just mentioning yesterday on the Patreon Hangout how it has only been a month since our last. Actually, it would be longer though.
It
because
feels a little bit longer.
Because
yeah.
if there's an extra episode, that means that it broke in a way to where there was legitimately, 4 weeks since our last roundtable. So it has been a while. But either way, we're here for our first roundtable of April.
I mean, it was the 1st of March.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, if you're technically it's been a month, but with the way that it all fell, we've actually had two episodes between now and the last one. So feels like it's been a while. So let's go ahead and jump on in and hit the intro and get started with Roundtable 162.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, and the extended Stephen King universe, because the entire universe is one level of the tower or another. Isn't that correct?
That's right.
And my name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And we're here for episode 162, Roundtable 162. I got to get in the habit of not just saying randomly episode, because it's Roundtable 162. So,
right.
And we were just saying on the YouTube side, it feels like it's been a while because we had one of those fun little 3-episode months, which means it's been 2 full episodes, or 3 episodes ago since our last Roundtable. So it feels like it's been a while. We've had a couple good old fun Rhea-filled episodes of book club. We had one Rhea episode. I think our last episode had no Rhea, sadly,
which is great.
No,
so good.
And here on the spoiler side of the Roundtable stuff, we can easily say that there is still much worse things from Rhea to come.
This is true.
We haven't seen corner licking yet, for instance. As well as the Charyu tree. Let's go ahead and jump on into the introductions. First of all, if you have not finished the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series, we do want to warn you that in the roundtables, as we just did, we spoil throughout the entire series. So if you haven't finished the series, this probably isn't a save episode for you. Stick with our book club episodes. With those ones, we stay where we're at or before. We don't jump ahead. And then if you want to, or otherwise, you could stick here, but we can spoil whatever I guess we want. And there's incidental Stephen King spoilers as well.
Always.
Next up, if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasting, stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or find us on any podcasting service of your choice if you are still one of the people using the old school podcast apps, which I think you do, right?
Podcast addicts, yeah.
Okay, I still kind of do. I'm weird. I have like some podcasts I still do that, but then other ones I've converted into Spotify.
I've tried Audible. I've tried Spotify. The problem I have with Spotify is that I have a giant playlist that has an amalgamation of everything.
Yeah.
And so when I get partway through a playlist, I'm like, I have a podcast I need to go listen to.
You don't want to interrupt it.
I don't want to interrupt it and go listen to the podcast and then come back and have to start the playlist over again.
Yeah,
that is the one thing, is that it's like,
Yeah.
That's why I use a separate podcasting app. And so far, Podcast Addict is what I'm familiar with. I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm one of those, change is scary.
Yeah. And then if you want to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those services, we'd appreciate that. And then if you want to join us live for the live streams, or if you want to look at old live streams, you could definitely do that too. There's a number of years worth of live streams now in the archives over here at youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. We do go live every other week, so you can join us. Subscribe, rate, and review, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. If you do that, you'll be able to look on our channel and see like our upcoming episodes, and it will convert it to your time. I can't necessarily tell you exactly what time it is for you, but we do generally go the same time every other week, so you can join us live. And then if you want to find the show notes, you can do it over at darktowerpalaver.com. All the articles that we cover, I'll have linked over there. March Insanity just wrapped. We'll be talking about that later on. All of that is found over there if you want to go look at everything. We will cover it, though, because Peter has yet to chime in on it. I've had I had some of the short videos that I do week to week as each round ends. But Peter has just been kind of a silent voter. I mean, we had one episode where we were able to talk about it for a smidge, but I think it was only after the first round.
Yeah.
I think so.
I made a point to vote for the final and everything like that, but then I was like,
or no, the first round hadn't even wrapped with our last episode.
No.
It had just started. So
yeah,
you haven't actually chimed in on any results in any way because we've had book clubs
it's just
the rest of March. So so Peter will have his say on it. We have the largest upset in the history of March Insanity happened in the second to last round.
So
semifinals. That's pretty wild. But you can find out that over at darktowerpalaver.com, and that is the hub for all things Dark Tower Palaver. Links for everything can be found over there. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. I mentioned we just did a Patreon hangout yesterday. We do those monthly. We just talked about the Dead Zone movie, which Peter has never seen until now.
Yep.
I've seen it a number of times. We went through and chatted about that. We talked about the Dead Zone book the month before. And then we're talking about Billy Summers coming up next month.
Next month we're going to read and discuss Billy Summers, which is in the works of getting an adaptation, so...
Yeah. And then Robert also mentioned Spotify Premium also has audiobooks just about all things King. I think the only caveat there is I think they restrict how much you can listen to. So it's almost like a library where you can listen to X number of hours and then you're like stuck until the next month when it renews. So chances are, unless you're reading a shorter book, you can't finish an entire book very quickly on Spotify. So it's still kind of nice because ultimately it is, if you're paying for premium there.
If you want to go listen to a book that you may not like, if you wanted to go listen to Tommy Knockers, because it's trash, so you don't want to spend a credit on that.
At some point, I was debating about one of these years coming up, maybe just having a year of rereads, and with some of the Patreon stuff as well as the stand coming up, maybe this is the year because I mean, except for the new one, of course, I'm going to definitely read Never Flinch.
Yeah.
But beyond that, and I'm also slowing down on my reads because I'm getting far enough along into my percentages, and I'm starting to get worried about not having any more King to read. So I have slowed down quite a bit. I was like a freight train there for a bit, knocking books off pretty quickly. But now I'm starting to kind of, pump the brakes a tiny bit. Then if you want to contact the show, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
The best way to reach us is through email. It's show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then you can find us on Threads or Instagram. It's Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then we have a Blue Sky account. It's @darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then check out our Twitter. It's @darktowerpod. That's @darktowerpod. And then facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And then go get some merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver. I got myself a new shirt. Went with the
slander,
the gray, and the truth there. Still got my sticker. I need to get a new one.
No, Blaine is a pain, and that's the truth.
We don't have that as a sticker. We have #Tad is terrible, which
is a lie.
Which is the truth.
Nah.
You are terrible.
I'm a lovable character, just like Randall Flagg.
No.
Baraki in the chat. Welcome, Baraki. Throwing out some truth there. Some snake emoji in memoriam of good old Ermot. I'm also going to tease for the next book club as well. We may have got an email about Ermot.
Oh.
So I'm going to save that for the book club, though, because that's where we've been obviously talking a lot of Ermot. So, yeah.
Okay.
Can't wait for that. Hi, Agomorphy. Welcome. We did, and we actually have an email for today's episode, too. It's just, it's just not Ermot related. So, if you want to get a, some moist snake emails, you'll have to join us for our next book club in a fortnight from now. So,
so gross.
Oh, and then I also just found a video recently of like an Amazon person licking someone's cat.
Yeah, you sent that to us.
And it reminded me of Rhea because she was licking Musty there. So,
not cool.
all right, let's go ahead and jump on over. We're going to start off in Flanagan Corner. So, let's
As one should.
yeah, and this is one of those things you want to just hope into the future, or hope into existence for reality, because the first thing we got to cover here is a Mike Flanagan green light. So,
Okay.
Amazon has greenlit Carrie, the series with Mike Flanagan.
Okay.
So that's been in the works. So this is by Tony Malgalio from Hollywood Reporter on April 10th, 2025. So Prime Video has officially given Mike Flanagan the green light for the Carrie series. Mike is going to be executive producing, showrunning, and writing all 8 episodes, and will direct, quote, select episodes. So, which is pretty standard.
Yeah.
The Prime Video series is described as a, quote, bold and timely reimagining of the story of misfit high schooler Carrie White, who spends her life in seclusion with her domineering mother. After the father's sudden and untimely death, Carrie finds herself contending with the alien landscape of a public high school. Bullying scandal that shatters landscape of public high school, a bullying scandal that shatters her community, and the emergence of her mysterious telekinetic powers. And then we got a quote from Vernon Sanders, the head of television over Amazon. Carrie is an iconic story that has withstood the test of time with continued cultural relevance. With Mike Flanagan at the helm and the accomplished team that he's assembled, including executive producer Trevor Macy, this provocative series is sure to captivate our global customers. I also wanted to just pause. That's the end of the recap here. I will say I still believe 100% this is a show me project for Amazon. I think this is kind of the test balloon for Mike Flanagan adapting Stephen King.
It's one of the most successful Stephen King adaptations. Not the most. We have It. We have The Shining.
There's been 4 Carrie
and
adaptations.
There's also been 4, but the one that a lot of people still consider
De
to be
Palma
the best
one,
is
yeah.
De Palma.
Yeah,
right,
for
exactly.
sure.
So we know that it's adaptable.
Yes.
It's also Stephen King.
I will say the one in
So-
the last decade, was it 2012-ish, somewhere in there?
2012,
I think
2013.
that's a great movie, too. I think
It was not bad, no.
I think that one kind of gets a shaft at times just because, like, De Palma's is so classic. But I do think that one was actually a fairly decent movie. I think Julianne Moore playing Carrie, Margaret White was worth the price of admission alone. I don't know if I've seen any of the other 2 versions. I think those are both television adaptations. But,
Yeah.
which is what we got here, because this is going to be 8 episode. So what do you think of that? 8 episodes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like when you said 8 episodes, I'm like, man, they're gonna have to put everything in the book and stretch a little bit too to fill 8 episodes. Now that is I
assume an hour.
I always assume an hour, but they're
Yeah.
probably not going to be an hour, knowing Amazon. So,
Yeah. I mean, their stuff is actually pretty decent.
well, they started doing ads, so it makes
There's-
me think
there's nowhere-
40 minutes.
There's
with, ads,
but they don't have to work with like time
I know.
things. So like, I would say they're a lot better than like Netflix or Disney that have both. I've seen a lot of them where you're getting these 20, 30-minute episodes for ones that should have been hour-long episodes. I would say like with like The Boys, I've never seen a short episode of The Boys necessarily. Like that one seemed to be consistently about an hour
Yeah.
long. So, not to say that's the only thing that Amazon's done. But The Man in the High Castle, I think, was pretty consistent with its time. I'm just saying, in general, Amazon is yet to bite me as hard as some of these others when it comes to like waiting for a 50-minute episode, and I turn it on and it's 24 minutes long, and
Yeah.
6 minutes of it's Disney Plus's hour of fucking credits they put for
where
every
they do
country on the planet.
every single country and everything.
Yeah, so 8 episodes. Overall, has your feeling on this changed since we talked about it the first time? In terms of like, because it was very mixed with everyone about like, do we really need another Carrie thing? Again, from my perspective, I'm just about like, I don't care what it is. If it's King and Flanagan, like I'm there.
Yeah.
Would I want some other stuff? Like, if you gave me a choice, like outside of the Dark Tower, I'd say like, give me a revival by Mike Flanagan. But
I just don't know how we've talked about how hard that one would be.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot
for
of,
sure.
There's a lot of stuff that if you asked me, I mean, honestly, if they made a good fire starter, that would be nice.
with no karate chop to the face.
Or no, hey, let's go with the bad guy. So dumb.
But
That guy killed her. I'm done.
But we did cover the interview with Flanagan or King,
Yeah.
where they talked about, like, I don't remember how it was, but somebody approached, I can't remember if it was the Amazon approached Flanagan, then when Flanagan would talk to King, King's like, it's already been adapted a lot, and then he said Flanagan kind of laid out his vision for it, and he's like, oh, absolutely, this will be great.
Yeah.
Type thing. So I do believe that Flanagan is actually bringing something unique to the table. I don't think this is just going to be the same rehash of what we've. I mean, if nothing else, it's going to have Flanagan's fingerprints on it, which is worth the price of admission as well.
Fingerprints or lack thereof because of the,
It's because of the degloving. But yeah, and like I don't know. Ultimately, is this what's Amazon? Does Amazon have any King products? Is this their first King thing? Apple's done like Lizzy's Story. We've got Netflix has a whole grundle.
I feel like there's one.
Yeah, I don't know. We've got Peacock. Technically, it was something else like Audience Network for Mr. Mercedes. I mean, of course, I'm sure Amazon's had plenty of King products on their service, like whatever. But I don't know if they've ever done an original King thing before. This might be their first foray into the Stephen King realm. So,
I think you're right. There's nothing.
Nothing jumps to mind. I mean, I've had Amazon Prime forever because I'm habitual Amazon shopper. So the shipping alone is worth
where was the stand?
CBS,
Paramount.
Which turned to Paramount. Yeah, it was CBS All Access that turned into Paramount Plus. Got rebranded. So yeah, like almost every other streamer you can think of has got at least one King. But I think Amazon's one of the last people that have yet to join the dance. So
yeah,
not a bad way to go though for them. Of course, they also bought MGM. So whatever MGM has, like they've got rights to and stuff. So, but overall, I don't even remember where you were at on it when we first talked about it.
I don't remember either. Honestly, what my level of excitement was. I think there was a lot of just give me the Dark Tower.
Yeah,
like I get it, but I would rather have the Dark Tower, obviously.
Yeah.
8 episodes for Flanagan to do his thing with Carrie. Yeah, I'll watch it. I'm excited for it and everything. It's just that I'm really curious about how he's going to stretch it and what he's going to fill it with. I wonder if the White Commission is going to be a larger part than we initially have ever had.
And for our other show today, we're going to be talking Chernobyl. Think about that, how it's like non-linear. And then like the finale of it turns out to be the trial. What if they go non-linear and the trial is like almost framing the actual like narrative? But yeah, it is kind of interesting. I'm not sure how let's just even say that it goes down to 45 to 50 minutes, whatever. That is a long time to cover. Although we just talked about it yesterday on the Patreon Hangout, where there was like some filmmakers have said if you got a Stephen King short story, they work really well as films. If you got a Stephen King novel, they should probably work better as series because King's works are so dense.
Yes.
I would say, generally speaking, though, in my mind, Carrie isn't that dense. It's
also really short.
It's not super long, and it's not like Salem's Lot isn't that much longer than Carrie, but it's so much denser. There's so much more going on with Salem's Lot. So yeah, I assume that Flanagan knows what he's doing, though. I have to assume that the 8 episode thing is his choice and not Amazon's. I know that let's see here. Agamorphy said Amazon is very erratic in quality. I do think a big part of that is you can't always judge the streamer, because I do think that it's a matter of the filmmakers a lot of times. And yes, there are times that, like a streamer can be very good or very bad at hiring filmmakers. HBO, which I know they're not a streamer, but like HBO, for instance, is very good at hiring filmmakers.
Yeah.
And they very rarely have a miss, but I think that's a big part of like they pick the right people to do the right projects.
They also pass on a lot of projects too.
Yeah, and good stuff sometimes.
So, I mean, that's the thing is like they'll be like, no, that's not for us. And then it ends up on Amazon or it ends up on Netflix.
Or Breaking Bad that ends up on AMC. Like
exactly.
they've turned down some iconic stuff. So I do think there's a level of that, but I do think a lot of times it does come down to the filmmakers more than the studio itself. So I have to believe that Amazon, or with Flanagan involved, I don't know that I'm as concerned about, and I can't say I've even seen a lot of Amazon stuff. I've watched like Man in the High Castle, The Boys. I don't know what else I've watched.
Reacher?
Of theirs. Oh yeah, Reacher. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've watched that.
You've also watched Jack Ryan.
Yeah, Jack Ryan, which I enjoyed. Yeah, I mean, but I haven't gotten into like a lot of the more fantasy side. I haven't watched Wheel of Time or Fallout or
Fallout was really
Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched.
Fallout was really good.
Yeah,
I will say Fallout was really good. I know you haven't played the games.
Yeah,
but I thoroughly enjoyed Fallout.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Agamorphy says bowling scandal.
Bullying scandal. For
Oh.
the description for Carrie, they thought you said bowling scandal.
Oh.
Just a misheard.
Okay. I was like, bowling scandal. Like, what am I missing here? The dude. And then
Spencer joined us.
Spencer Heil. And then Barack says Chernobyl was incredible. Indeed, he can't wait to talk about that.
Yep.
And then Agamor says no Stephen King on Amazon, which yeah, you looked that up too. Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about it until just now, but I was like, yeah, they've not, which is weird.
Hulu did 11/22/63.
Yeah.
Disney doesn't have anything.
Well, unless you count Hulu, it belongs to Disney.
Nah, it was
so.
that came before the merge and everything like that. Let's be perfectly honest. That's not Disney.
Yeah,
I don't think Disney Plus has a Stephen King adaptation.
yeah. Yeah, under the realm of them. I mean, ABC
Yeah.
belongs to them, which is where The Stand and It premiered back in the days.
Yeah, the originals. Yeah.
So it's like they've got some in their libraries for sure. But that's you're probably right with them. But I will say with them owning two of the biggest pieces of IP on the fucking face of the planet,
Yeah.
it makes sense that most of their streaming has gone towards those two things.
Yeah.
And then I feel like everything that's not those two things is like in the traditional Disney umbrella. So
Right.
I will say anything from this point on, Hulu wise is them though.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely see what happens. So
Brocky says Carrie would be an amazing bowler if you think about it, and he's not wrong.
does she roll on Shabbos though?
Of course she does.
All right, so we got a little bit more from this. Let me go to the next slide here. We've got not a confirmation yet, but a rumor pretty well that it was going to be happening, though, probably. Mike Flanagan's Carrie TV series eyes Summer H. Howell for the lead role. So this is from Joe Otterson from Variety on April 8th, 2025.
Good Lord. Who's that?
So, I mean, obviously she's playing Carrie. She's not necessarily one that's been around forever. So Summer H. Howell is nearing a deal to star in the Flanagan Carrie TV series at Amazon. Variety has heard from sources. This is a few days before the official green light, and this article says that there is no announcement of a green light yet, but that they do hear that it's coming imminently. Well,
Which
we know
was 2 days later.
Yeah, 2 days later we know that it came. So yeah, Howell is known for her role in Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, and the horror anthology series Channel Zero. So I just watched the last Chucky movie in October when I did my horror marathon. That was the last Chucky movie I had not seen. So yeah, she was in that. I don't remember anyone necessarily overly from that, but I don't remember anyone good or bad necessarily. So I'm sure she'll be fine. And the Flanagan family might be growing. I think
Kind of surprised a little bit by that all the kids that he's worked with Haunting of Hill House and everything like that, we don't have an alumni coming back.
yeah, that's true. I will say,
Especially since some of them now would be, especially like Haunting of Hill House, would be right around the right age for a high schooler.
yeah, what's her name? The younger
Yeah.
daughter from Hill House. She might be.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It's tough to say.
Should we find out?
Make ourselves feel old. I will also say there was a rumor that came through right before all this broke. There was actually a rumor that the little girl from Hereditary was allegedly being eyed for the role of Carrie. So obviously that turned out not to be true. But as well as what's her name?
Oh shit, she's too young.
Is she?
Violet McGraw.
Yeah. She's also in Doctor
young,
Sleep.
Young Nell. She is 13 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
that makes sense.
Yeah,
And she was also
she's a little too young.
She was also in Doctor Sleep, right? She was the girl at the river or whatever that the True Knots
At the very beginning.
accost. Maybe we're growing the Flanagan family. We also have one other one, and it is Mike Flanagan's Carrie TV series. Mike Flanagan's Carrie TV series has cast Sienna Agudong as Sue Snell. And this is from Joe Otterson from Variety, April 9th, 2025. So it's funny. The 8th, you got the Carrie, even though that one's
no
not
green light.
Even though that one's not fully confirmed yet. It sounds like
no
they're
green light.
sounds like they're negotiating with her
Yeah.
is what it is. And then the next day they got Sue Snell, and then the next day was the green light. So and this is this one says Flanagan's Carrie series has cast a key role. Sienna Agudong has nabbed the role of Sue Snell. Also mentioned that this series is set to start filming this summer in Vancouver. So
damn.
that is damn quick, which means in my mind, if they're going to start filming this summer, I wonder if we're seeing this next summer to next fall on Amazon, if not sooner. I mean, there's probably a lot of special effects needed. Maybe not as much as The Boys, but there's probably going to be some special effects. But I think you could probably go through a good chunk of the show without special effects. So, I mean, fuck, we could have this a year from now, potentially. So,
Potentially, yeah.
of course, we know that Sue originally bullies Carrie and then winds up trying to befriend her. So Sienna here, she was on the Resident Evil TV series a couple years ago.
Yeah.
She's also in the Kevin Smith movie, the 4:30 movie, and then she was also on Hawaii Five-0. Those are just a couple things that I grabbed. It kind of perked my ears when it said Kevin Smith movie and then it said the 4:30 movie. I'm like, I've never even heard of that. Apparently, I've lost track of Kevin Smith here.
Yeah.
Because I can't say I'm like a hardcore fan of Kevin Smith, but I mean, I guess to be fair, I haven't even watched Clerks 3 yet. So
We both should watch that. That's
you know the funny part?
yeah. You own it. Is it wrapped?
It is
too?
it is on my shelf.
Is it in the wrapper and everything?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it looks like it is. Tad. Oh, you're just the worst.
Let's see. Agamorphy says once again a pretty Carrie. I mean, makeup does things as Brocky answers. I mean, yeah, I think that it's. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if that's even realistic to think that we're ever going to get like, more of a homely Carrie. I don't know if that's. I mean, I guess the rumors of the girl from Hereditary would have potentially filled the not pretty, traditionally pretty aspect.
I
but
mean, what
like,
is she? Well, I know her only from Hereditary. What does she look like outside of the makeup and everything? So that's where it comes down to what Baraki says. I mean, makeup does things, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and the
but
thing is like,
but it's like Harold, right? We haven't got Harold fat in either of the two series yet.
No.
So,
well, the thing is I kind of understand that one a little bit more because Harold's fat at the beginning and then becomes skinny, and so it's like, do you really want an actor to go through the body transformation?
well, there's fat suits, and in the 2021, you could have done CG to make him look fatter.
It's
and
true.
So
and you don't need to make him that fat. He was chubby. He wasn't, like fat bastard over here and everything.
No, he was a portly fella.
No, he was a little chubby. That was all.
I don't know about that. The way he's described early on, but again, it's much easier in the modern day. In the 90s, you probably could have done a fat suit if you wanted. But I'm just saying, in general, yeah, there are always things we tend to lose with some of these castings. But yeah, I think that we've yet to have really not attractive Carrie. All the actors so far have not necessarily fit that from King's realm. But the other part of it, let's be fair to these casting people. How many not traditionally attractive people are there that are acting? I mean, there's certainly some, but like,
especially for a leading role.
Yeah, but I think but in general, like, I feel like for like the ones that are less traditionally beautiful, there's probably like 25 that are like traditionally beautiful. So it's like I feel like there's like there's very few that become actors, is what I would say. In general, it's just but yeah, I do kind of agree. There's kind of one of those like pet peeves with like, like dental hygiene, right? Like Lord of the Rings, there must have been a lot of good toothbrushes in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
With the way that you see some of the actors looking there. So, so that's all the Carrie news. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the next one.
No, it's easy to explain Lord of the Rings. It was magic. The wizards.
Lambus bread brushes your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one here is out of nowhere. Stephen King's Cujo still has bite. Netflix sets a movie deal for the classic thriller novel. So we are getting a new Cujo, which
Hooray!
is, again, for coming off of talking about Carrie. Carrie's had, this will be the 5th adaptation now.
Yeah.
Cujo's had 1, so that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
In what, 40 years? 42,
yeah.
43 years. Or 42 years, I guess, is what it would be, because I think it was 83. So
for the novel or the book?
The movie. I think
the movie was 83.
Yeah, then the novel was 81, if I remember right. So this is from Mike Fleming Jr. from Deadline on March 11th, 2025. You are clapping, so it sounds like you're excited.
I mean,
for this,
I love St. Bernards.
For this beast.
Fluffy little St. Bernards that are trying to eat Tad.
Hashtag Peter's terrible.
No.
So Netflix is turning Stephen King's best-selling novel Cujo into a feature film. Netflix obviously has plenty of Stephen King stuff under their belt.
Yeah.
1922, Gerald's Game. They've got more than that, don't they? Or is that all they've got? Oh, wow. I was thinking they had more than that, but 1922. Oh, and The Tall Grass is Netflix as well. So you got 3.
Is that Stephen King?
In The Tall Grass, 1922, and then Gerald's Game. So, well, we can give them half credit for Midnight Mass too. Midnight Mass isn't Stephen King, but let's be honest, that's Stephen King. You got a crazy religious person, a New England, desolate New England place. It's just off the coast. Like there's vampires. Like they're just.
I mean, Stranger Things also can be.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah. So much so that the Stranger Things logo is Stephen King font. So the film will be produced by Roy Lee, and they are looking for a writer immediately. The novel, originally published in 1981, was first turned into a 1983 thriller that starred Dee Wallace as the mother desperate to protect her son from a formerly friendly 200-pound Saint Bernard that has been bitten by a rabid bat and turns into a ferocious, calculating hound that leaves a trail of bodies. I don't know about friendly, beasts like that. You can't trust them. Mom and her son get stuck in a small car that won't start. Their choices are to battle it out with the rabid, oversized hound or risk heat stroke in a hot car. Baraki says, I was shocked to learn that it was not Stephen King about Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
There's 2 things I've ever really consumed where I had to repeatedly stop and tell myself, wait, remember, this is not Stephen King. Nosferatu by Joe Hill, because as I was reading that, I just kept forgetting that I wasn't reading a new Stephen King novel. And then Midnight Mass. Multiple times I had to go oh God, this is so good. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Stephen King. So, it's definitely a shocker for sure. Let's see. And then Baraki talking about some less traditionally attractive actors, Vincent Scavini and Steve Buscemi. I mean, there's certainly examples.
There certainly is them, but
Yeah.
I mean, for every Vincent and Steve, we can name
25 Brad Pitt,
George Clooney,
Yeah, exactly.
Orlando Bloom, Ewan McGregor,
Yeah, indeed.
and everything. That's
fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So we've got then a week later, Variety reported, and this is an interesting one. This is a rumor as of now because it's potentially in negotiations. Variety reported that Darren Aronofsky is in talks to direct for Netflix. So if this pans out, this would be Aronofsky's first film ever for a streamer. Aronofsky has often been courted by Hollywood. In fact, he was an early contender to reboot Batman before Christopher Nolan took over, but he is largely stuck to his indie roots. He is known for films like Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan, The Whale, and Mother. I will say with just things like Requiem for a Dream, if Aronofsky is the director of this, Tad will indeed die. I guarantee it. I mean, I already think that it's probably a strong chance anyway, but if it's Aronofsky, there's no chance for that kid. This is not 1982 and they're sitting there making a movie for 83 and telling Stephen King, hat in hand, sorry, Mr. King, we don't know if we can kill the child. And King's like, I know, you'll get lynched if you do. This isn't
as he finishes Pet Sematary.
Yeah, this is not those days anymore. So I 100% believe that if Aronofsky, and also that's just a huge get. He's a wonderful filmmaker. So I think if he ends up being the director of this, that'll elevate the realm of what this movie could be to draw in audiences and stuff.
God.
I do kind of hope that they also put this out theatrically. I hope this isn't just a straight Netflix release. I hope this actually hits theaters, but we'll see.
You made the little joke there about the studio execs coming to him and saying, "Hey, sorry, we can't kill the kid." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know that you'll be lynched." Do you remember when Pet Sematary was written and released?
No, I know it was in the 80s.
83. So
yeah,
it's almost like King retaliated and was like, "All right, you won't kill the kid. I fucking will."
I mean, to be fair, chances are he probably wrote it before then.
I mean, we know he wrote it before then because he threw it away and Tabitha rescued it, right?
Yeah, and it came out in late.
No, he didn't.
No,
that's Carrie.
That's Carrie, not rescue.
That one was just in a drawer.
But it was one he put away where he's like, nobody will ever.
No one will
this.
ever publish this. Yeah.
So
that's what made him think about it. They're like, you can't kill a kid. And he's like, oh yeah, there's that story that I wrote about having a kid run down by a diesel.
Oh man, so what are your thoughts on Cujo?
I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah,
let's do it.
And it's funny, we just added Cujo to our Patreon list.
Yeah, that'll be
unbeknownst to you, this was even in the news. I already knew this was happening, but
and then I suggested, and you're like, Son of a bitch knows.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do Billy Summers next, and then Cujo after that.
Yeah. And then Brock says, I mean, how many kids do they kill in Willy Wonka? I know Willy Wonka says they didn't die, but you know they died.
And Willy Wonka, yes. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you see them all leave. Deformed, but they leave.
I will say I'm very happy because it's so rare to see like true like filmmakers talk shit. But I just saw something recently where Elijah Wood was asked like if you could erase one movie from existence, what would it be? And he said the Johnny Depp
Charlie and
Wonka
the
movie.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just completely. He's like, there's nothing good about that movie. He's like, it's not honest. It's not. There's just nothing about that. And like, you know what? Bravo, because usually
for actually having the guts to say something.
Yeah, because I mean,
no, I wouldn't erase anything. Everything has a place.
Yeah, because it's like in general, and I get it from their perspective. They're part of the art too. They understand more than you or I do how hard it is to get something made. And ultimately, they might have to work with someone down the road that was on that film. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it is refreshing every once in a while when someone just takes a shot a little bit, and that one deserves it because the original, like, why step on that?
I mean, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited for this. Again, it's kind of interesting to hit these back to back because again, having Carrie have so many adaptations and Cujo is yet to really be readapted, And I would like. It's funny because you asked me about that for the Dead Zone. So we're talking about the Dead Zone that came out in the early 80s as well. And I was talking about how like there's just an element that kind of feels dated. Like it's not a bad movie, but there's just elements of it that just feel melodramatic, that feel like it's from just a specific certain time or whatever. Well,
especially since
and
there's
like,
a large part of it is the letter correspondence, You're not going to have that in this day and age. What are they write an email, kind of thing? No, they're going to be sending text messages.
But you asked me then because I says I don't want to really compare it to like Carrie or Christine, which are done by brilliant filmmakers and are some of the most iconic King of all time. And then you pulled Cujo out of your hat to say, well, how would you compare it to Cujo? I'm like, one, I haven't seen Cujo in a long time. I remember it a lot better than it probably actually is. I'm looking forward to revisiting it. But that might be a good comparison. So it's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And also, this is just like legit a creature feature. So to me, like this is just kind of like the monkey. It's just one that makes sense to make.
The reason why I like Cujo so much, why it's so scary to me, is that this is something that could happen. And I'll be perfectly honest, I'm fucking terrified of rabies.
Yeah.
Ever since I learned about rabies, I think it was you that actually turned me onto it about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like right at the early part of our friendship, because you were in EMT class.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that I saw a video of a coyote that was rabid licking the window, like the sliding glass window.
Yeah.
And like bashing its head into it and everything. I'm like, dude, that's kind of creepy. Like rabies, like you're like, oh yeah, rabies is terrifying. I'm like, oh yeah? And you're like, yeah, once it gets past a certain point,
yeah, 100%.
it's 100% fatal.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do. They can't even make you comfortable. It's a nervous system thing.
Yeah.
You're fucked at that point. And ever since I've heard that, I'm like, dude, there's a lot of mammals. A lot of mammals carry rabies, and I live in North America. This is bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm terrified of rabies. So this is something that realistically could happen. You have and the best part is like, I would love if someone did the film Final Destination-ish, not where it's like they're going to die, but like the perfect set of circumstances happen. Because if you modernize this, well,
you can't. I was just. That was going to be.
Oh
my
no,
next
you
question.
absolutely could. You absolutely could. What you do is she forgets her phone at home. What you do is she's driving her husband's old beat-up car to the repair guy because he can't take it in because he's out of town. Like I said, just set up that perfect set of string of events that lead to you're trapped in a car that won't start, and there's a rabid St. Bernard outside. You have to decide, do I make a run for the house, or do I stay and wait it out? You can set up a perfect set, and I think that would make a great film, because that's one of those ones that you're just like, no, like the whole time, where you're just like, don't do that. Like, don't leave your phone at home.
Yeah, I just have a feeling it'll be a period piece.
Like a old
set in the 80s or 70s or something.
Hell, set it in the 90s, it'd be fine.
Which is even like becoming more and more popular too. Yeah, everything from the 70s to the 90s. I feel like that's like the prime real estate for people to set movies nowadays. It just feels like, I mean, even like horror especially.
Yeah.
I mean, cell phones have ruined horror. I mean, how many horror movies exist that you could immediately like stop dead in its tracks if there were cell phones?
I mean,
almost
Friday the 13th would not happen if anyone had a cell phone that had reception.
Yeah.
A ring. Hi, someone died. Woo!
Yeah.
Jason's in the woods. fuck.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Hey, there's a lot. I've thought about that over the years. In the last 5 to 10 years, and as I've watched, I'm like, yeah, if this weren't set in the right time period, cell phones, GPS, there's all number of things ruin some of these horror premises. And I think because of that, you're seeing a lot of movies, especially horror, that are specifically purposely setting themselves in the mid 90s back to 1970. There's just a lot of films.
Look at Salem's Lot that they did. They finally released it. They did a period piece with that one.
Yeah.
They didn't try to modernize it. You don't always have to modernize it. I think that the remake of Carrie did a really good job with it. And I've talked about it before. That was one of my favorite parts, is that she went and posted it, and they're like, oh, yeah, we found the original video on your phone.
Yeah.
We know it was you.
Yeah.
Baraki says every setup in Seinfeld would have failed with cell phones.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get into TV as well, yeah. There's a lot. Because in general, it was just something that we take for granted now that, you're kind of always in contact and stuff. And it's just there's so much of a film and television history that kind of falls on its face if cell phones exist. So, and I just kind of feel this might be one. But also, I feel like this just feels like a movie that should be in dirty, grungy 80s or 70s. It just feels right. Maybe 90s.
That's why I like the idea of a modern woman who moves to the small town with her husband and son. She's not really digging it too much and everything like that. And that could kind of be the story, right? Is that she's rising above the circumstances. It's like what's the movie where the city folks get trapped in the wilderness, that kind of stick,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it if it was modernized. I get where you're coming from with it being a period piece.
Yeah.
Not going to be a problem at all with me if it's a period piece.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Put her in a Volkswagen Bug, for God's sakes. They
Yeah.
love those in Stephen King.
I hate that car. It's just not a good car, man. I know there's some people that love them, but I do not understand. I also kind of wonder if Stephen King owned one at some point.
They're everywhere for him.
Yeah, they're all over for him. Kind of I just assume that he likes blue chambray shirts and engineering boots and what else? There's certain things that he always brings up, and I mean, and I don't.
Comic books is a big one that he always brings up, and his specific comic books, the old creature features, the creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, the Mummy, all those kind of ones. So
yeah.
Brocky says make it out in the boonies with no cell reception.
Yeah. And then Brocky also said there's a few movies I wish I could erase from my mind. Swiss Army Man, even more than Human Centipede.
I have not seen either one of those.
Yeah, Swiss Army Man I actually didn't see. I meant to. I heard that was really good, but I haven't ever got a chance to see it. So let's go on over to, let's see, where am I at here? Right here. So that would bring us to our big board. Let's go ahead and take a look at the updated big board here. So Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream is now back to the normal color now that it's no longer the newest thing. Cujo has been out of the list. The movie thing is certainly filled up. I really wish that some of this stuff would we get some updates whether they're going to move forward or not. Things like Rat that was sold to Ben Stiller, with Ben Stiller so busy with the Severance show. I kind of assume that's probably dead. But, without someone confirming that, I don't necessarily want to take it off the board.
Yeah.
Life of Chuck and The Running Man coming this year, as well as The Long Walk, which is the next thing we're talking about. So, Cujo. And then we got Carrie down there on the TV, which was added not too long ago. So, a lot of good stuff. Let's jump on over to The Long Walk. So CinemaCon was just recently, and CinemaCon had a number of things, and then one of the big ones here is The Long Walk finally got its release date, because last time we talked about 2025's Stephen King films was, I think, back in November, and we covered that there were 6 projects, which matches 2017 with a lot of Stephen King projects in one year. And we had a number of to be determined dates. The Running Man, The Long Walk, Welcome to Derry, and The Institute all were TBD. And now with CinemaCon that just happened on April 1st is when this article came out, but I think CinemaCon's a week-long thing. We've got a date for The Long Walk. So Ryan Scott from Fangoria wrote this on April 1st, 2025. So after a dozen or more years of developmental hell, The Long Walk is finally coming to the silver screen. We knew it was coming this year. Back in Roundtable 157 in late November, we listed the 6 King adaptations, but The Long Walk and The Institute were both TBD without dates yet. But at CinemaCon in Vegas, Lionsgate revealed the first trailer which has not been publicly released yet. It's one of
Oh.
those bummer things. It's kind of like when Disney has their conventions and shit, and they'll show trailers, not release it. But there's a trailer out there, and the release date on it was September 12th, 2025. So also that's Hato's birthday. So
Hey.
that should be fun. I wish it was something a little bit more grisly for Hayden's birthday. That would be a fun thing to go watch. Like I don't know, what else we got this year? I guess that's probably the most brutal movie we've got this year, but still, interestingly, this is only 1 week after the release of The Conjuring: Last Rites by Warner Brothers. So it seems like a strange release date. Usually, once you get into August and beyond, films tend to count on longer times to breathe. You don't have like weekly releases like you have in like May and June and stuff. Usually when you get into August and September, like it had that, right? It came out in mid-August and it had weeks before the next movie came out, and that's why it did gangbusters, because it was able to have almost a month of like, almost no challenge. And that's
And that was also right at the start of like people were starting to kick into horror seasons, so they're like, yeah, let's go see it.
Yeah. So you tend to see that a lot more. But honestly, I kind of wonder if we've kind of have a log jam now of movies because of COVID, and then back things up. You were starting to kind of get through that, and then the two strikes happened, and all that's caused a huge log jam. So I do think this year and next year are massively packed to the gills. So that might be why you're starting to see movies plugged into holes that traditionally you wouldn't have seen movies in. Because also, is The Long Walk horror? I mean, it kind of is, but not.
It's more suspense, like thriller kind of is what. I mean, they're walking and there's the threat of death and everything like that. So I put it more down as like thriller suspense.
But still, it's close enough to like The Conjuring that it's like, do you really want to go up against The Conjuring in week 2? You're drawn from the same audience a little bit.
I mean, it all depends on how they market it. That's the big thing. It's like we haven't seen the trailer. If we see the trailer and it's like all of them but one will die, it's like, oh, okay, they're marketing it as horror, like. But if they're like, in the future you can walk for your country, like, and they make it kind of like a dystopian future, okay, well, that's a little bit different. That can draw a different audience and everything like that. Also, it's like, if you're gonna put it out and it's done, you don't want to sit on it for too long. So I get it, where it's not, okay, let's not wait until, the Oscar season, because, like you were saying yesterday, when we went and got lunch, November is when they put out Disney movies.
Disney family movies. You also get Oscar movies. But that might have been a good time to put a movie like this out, not for Oscar consideration, but it's kind of like alternate programming, like for people.
Everyone who's like against the Oscars, like, I don't want to see an Oscar. Movie.
And they don't want to go see the latest Pixar movie. Like, that's a perfect movie to put out for all of those people.
Yeah.
Kind of your 18 to 45 males. Like, that's a perfect movie to put out when it's like, well, I don't want to go see some artsy Oscar movie, and I don't want to go see some stupid Pixar movie.
I want to go see an hour and a half of a suspense movie.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
How's it going to end, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just kind of a strange choice, but we'll see what happens. So they shared a previous quote from director Francis Lawrence. He says, quote, "This is my favorite Stephen King novel. I read it 27 years ago. The rights got bought, then came back up. Roy Lee, my producer, brought it to me. For me, it was the conceit that was very interesting. You can imagine yourself in the shoes of these young men. World building, the heart of the movie for me is about these young men and their camaraderie and the love that forms. This isn't try to knock each other out competition, but how can we hold each other up competition? So it's kind of an interesting take on it. I guess the novel wasn't full on like trying to like sabotage the others or whatever, but kind of a
you're not allowed to.
Yeah,
like if you like tackle someone, they're just gonna, and then they'll still the other guy too. But
yeah. I will also say I've been seeing a lot of good buzz about this from the folks who were at CinemaCon. Some are saying the trailer looked great. Some even said that they are shocked that it even got made. So it sounds like the trailer is a little bit in your face.
Good.
So it sounds like it's going to live up to its source material for brutality and grimness. So unrelated completely, but I wanted to pin it here since we're talking CinemaCon. Both The Running Man and Life of Chuck are also getting a lot of positive buzz from what was shown at CinemaCon. So it sounds like we've got a very good year of Stephen King coming on the silver screen. Awesome. So also, I will pin it here since we just mentioned Life of Chuck at CinemaCon. Our last roundtable, Life of Chuck did put out a teaser trailer. So,
did it?
That is out. I will have that in the show notes if you want to go take a look at that. It's looking good. So then I have the dates of the remaining 2025 movies. Of course, I've taken the monkey off because that has been and gone now. But we got Life of Chuck, which has been moved to June 6th. Originally, it was May 30th, I think. So that's been moved back a little bit. The Long Walk, September 12th. The Running Man, November 7th. And then Welcome to Derry and the Institute, both being TV shows, are both still to be determined. Kind of, we've talked about this before. TV is kind of weird. A lot of times they may not announce something until like a month before it comes out, or like maybe at the lead of the quarter, like if it's the second quarter, third quarter. When you get closer to that quarter is when they announce it. TV just doesn't have to like lock their shit down as hardcore as movies do. So we don't necessarily know the date on those though, but I have to imagine that the Welcome to Derry is probably going to be late in the year. I have to think fall is probably when that's going to come out. I feel like that's kind of when HBO likes to drop things, especially a little bit more horror. The Institute, though, that's a complete roll the dice. If I had to guess, I would say that the Institute's going to come out before Welcome to Derry. I feel like that might be like a late summer, early fall type release, and then Welcome to Derry might be like a late October, November-ish type. That's just complete speculation. That just feels right to me.
Interesting, because I was looking up the Institute because I wanted to see who was making it. MGM Plus, which is technically, that's an Amazon.
Yeah, I hope it's on Amazon.
That'll be our first Amazon adaptation for King. That's what we were talking about
Ooh,
earlier.
MGM Plus, did that already have something? Look up MGM Plus Stephen King. Maybe we lied earlier, because I keep forgetting that they did buy MGM, and I keep forgetting MGM Plus even exists. But I want to say that maybe something got made for MGM Plus. I'm hoping it's actually that the Institute will screen on Amazon and not just MGM Plus, because I don't want to pay for some other stupid service for however long it takes to watch the Institute. Nothing?
Not finding anything.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm crazy. Or just part of me was thinking MGM Plus was... But that also got rebranded, too. MGM Plus was something else before that. And I just kind of wonder, I'm suspicious if they've done another Stephen King thing before. Yeah, so...
The Revelations of Becca Paulson. It's a episode of the anthology series The Outer Limits is written by Stephen King, apparently.
Yeah. We've talked about that in the last year or so.
MGM Television did that. That's the only thing I can find when I search Stephen King adaptations.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe this still is a first.
It just brings up everything that's available on there to, like, buy or rent, so...
Yeah. So, when you're looking at this list here, how would you rank these for excitement level? Like... Say all these are out right now.
Okay.
What order are you watching them in?
Welcome to Derry's first, because I mean,
Naturally.
shocker, right? You know,
Seeing good old Billy Boy,
Billy Boy
back in the paint.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to watch that with your wife now that she's reading it.
She's got to finish it first.
That's still never going to happen.
You don't think she'll ever watch it?
No. I think you're going to have to win a very, very hearty bet
Okay.
for that to happen.
Okay.
So,
number 2 is an interesting one. I'd probably go with The Running Man.
really?
And then number 3 would be The Long Walk. 4 would be Institute, and last would be The Life of Chuck.
Really?
Life of Chuck didn't catch me, dude.
The Flanagan side is what's getting me. Like, also in the trailer, it's interesting because it says from the visionary author of Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, and Stand By Me. I'm like, just think of the branding you're doing there. You're not calling out any horror. You're calling like the more dramatic coming of age type stuff. So, for me, it's probably going to be Life of Chuck. I'm a movie guy. I do like TV, but like I'd probably go the movies first. Well, never mind. Life of Chuck, Running Man, Welcome to Derry, The Long Walk, and then The Institute would probably be my order. Life of Chuck, I'm just all the hype that we've been getting from was it TIFF that they had their premiere. Ever since then, like all the hype that's been happening, I truly believe this might be like jumping up into like top lists of like in the same realm or whatever. So I'm just excited for it because like, I don't know, Flanagan can get pigeonholed as being a horror guy.
Yeah.
And I just, think that he can do non-horror as well. So it's going to be cool to see the merging of two guys that are pigeonholed as horror doing something new. So
Robert says in the chat, he says, I heard the monkey did pretty good at the box office, and then he did a monkey emoji.
yeah, we'll cover that in just a bit. Cool. I have that something about the monkey and odds and ends.
Baraki says he thinks The Running Man will be really good.
Yeah, I don't think we've got a loser here, to be honest. Like, just from what we haven't heard much about the Institute. Welcome to Derry. The fact that it's got the people that were making the movies, the Muschietti siblings. I have hope that that'll be fine. The Institute's kind of the unknown. That's kind of a wild card. I don't know what to expect from that. But all three of the movies, I've just everything we've heard, I kind of have the expectation all these are going to be fucking bangers.
Yeah,
So,
it just goes off of for me, it goes off of which ones did I enjoy the most, and obviously, Welcome to Derry, something that I've never read, but it's Pennywise, and I fucking love it.
yeah. Well, you've read it. You've read
So-
I mean, it's just taken from the
The
cutaway stuff where the historic.
Mike's investigations into the history of Derry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess if they follow that, it looks like they are. So
Yeah.
and then The Long Walk and Running Man, I thoroughly enjoyed both of those. I've gone back and reread The Long Walk once or twice. I haven't gone back for a reread of The Running Man, but I just read it for the first time last year or the year before.
Yeah.
And then The Institute, we read that, unfortunately, back to back.
Yeah, we read that twice within like a month or two.
Yeah.
which is fine. It's a good book for sure. I think for me, it's just the most unknown because it's like it's not a big streamer. We don't have it's not a massive filmmaker that we know. There's just a lot of unknowns, not necessarily from the content because the book itself is great. If it can replicate the book, great. But it's like how many Stephen King things didn't replicate the book well enough. So that's, I guess, in terms of it's the most unknown quantity, not because of the book, but just the rest of it. Welcome to Derry with the Muschiettes. It's like, hey, it's HBO as well. It's like HBO, Muschiettes, Bill Skarsgård to come back. There's nothing to doubt there. I would be absolutely stunned if it's not just brilliant. Edgar Wright doing The Running Man is probably why it's number 2 for me because Edgar Wright is one of my favorite filmmakers.
Yeah.
So him taking on King is going to be great. And then Life of Chuck, it's the I can't wait to see Tom Hiddleston as well. I don't think I've really seen him outside of the MCU. I know he's done some stuff outside the MCU. I'm not sure if I've ever seen any of it though.
Yeah, you saw Kong Skull Island.
Was he in that?
Yeah.
I don't remember it at all. You've actually done better at keeping up on the kaiju movies than me. I think I've fallen back.
I fucking love that universe. Actually,
I do too. But I think I missed the last couple movies. I don't remember.
It's something me and my daughter both geek out about is Godzilla.
Yeah.
So whenever there's a Godzilla movie, it's like, yeah, it's actually her profile picture on HBO.
Oh really? Did you watch -1 yet?
Yeah, I watched it. I told you about it. I said I didn't dig it as much.
Oh, really? Oh, man,
Yeah.
I love that. I think that might be one of my favorite Godzilla movies ever. So I'm not the biggest fan. Hayden and his brother, though, those two are massive Godzilla fans.
Are they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
they've pretty much seen them all. They'll watch it's like a huge
Yeah,
thing
it's
with those
one of
two.
those ones that comes back around every now and then. I'll get an itch and I'll go watch. Especially the first 2 Godzilla movies are
I forget
really.
I forget where I left off. I feel like was it Kong versus Godzilla? There wasn't the first one versus, and then from there it was and.
Yeah.
And there's 1 or 2 ands.
1 so far.
Okay, so I don't remember where I left off. That's kind of annoying, but yeah. Ultimately though, I do think this is a banger of a year. 17, we obviously got the Dark Tower movie. We've got It, Chapter 1. We've got Gerald's Game in 17. I'm trying to think of all the movies, all the things that came out in 17 because that was a big year. Mr. Mercedes, I think, came out that year.
Gerald's Game was 17.
Okay, so I do think that 17 was, I mean, of course, Dark Tower is one that a lot of people were not happy with. But ultimately, it was great. Mr. Mercedes was awesome. Gerald's Game was incredible. And it birthed the Mike Flanagan King realm. Although Oculus was a slight King reference there. So next up, we've got an interesting one. This is from winteriscoming.net. So a fantasy thing, probably Game of Thrones related, by Dan Slecki from winteriscoming.net on March 19, 2026. And he wrote this thing, 17 epic fantasy series to read if you love The Wheel of Time. So, of course, there's only one reason that we're covering this. Number 7 was the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I always find these things interesting, like how do people describe Dark Tower? And I think this is one of the first times I've ever truly seen something where it's like someone recommending Dark Tower based on the high fantasy connection.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, oh, do you like big series or do you like Stephen King? Here's the Dark Tower series, here's what it's about. But this is like hey, you like Wheel of Time, super nerdy high fantasy shit? Well, read the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
And it's like, so how's he gonna explain this? So first book, he gets a tale of the tape. First book, 1982, The Gunslinger. Last book, he does have a typo here, The Dark Tower 2022. But later in his description, he says the right year. So I'm like, that must have just been a typo.
2002?
No, because it's 2004. And he gets it right in his description. So I'm guessing
it's
100
2-0, and then you add the 2 2s together, 2004. I guess.
something. I don't know.
Math is hard.
At first, I was like, what is the little angry dude from Pixar? I was like, he got it wrong. But then later on, when I'm reading this thing, I was like, okay, he gets it right.
You know what that character's name is?
What?
Anger.
Oh, yeah?
It's an emotion. it's inside your head, so it's an emotion.
I like
That's anger.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah,
he
would.
He looks like a good dude.
You also like the guy who voices him too.
Robert says -1 had better special effects than at a $10 million budget than Pink Godzilla with $100 million. I still can't believe that one was so cheap. Just like I watched The Brutalist, one of the Oscar movies. That one allegedly was made for like $4 or $5 million, like, which is like almost nothing for a film. And dude, that movie was like huge. Like I remember people saying like, go see it in theaters. You got to see it on a big screen. And when I walked out, I was like, yeah, that was a really like big, grand movie with a lot of big shots. And I looked it up and it's like $4 million. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Like, how?
And then Godzilla the same way. When I walked out of that, I was like, that was so cool. And I find an interview. It's like, oh yeah, $10 million budget. And then I saw months later, I saw the director saying, I wish I had $10 million.
Yeah.
So apparently it was less than that. And it's like, how did you do that?
It doesn't seem physically possible.
Versus like you look at some of the things like
Well, even like he says here, the Pink Godzilla was a little for $100 million. Like I'm not. I'll say it. I love that series. The choices in the CGI and the choices with the artistic style of Godzilla is it's a little interesting to go from Godzilla King of the Monsters where he's fucking melting Boston to Pink Godzilla.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Pink. It's just I associate him with blue.
Well,
it's kind of weird.
And I'm not going to open the can of worms, but I will say I liked Star Wars Acolyte. But when I walked out of that series and learned that they spent like over $200 million on that show, I'm like,
where?
How? I'm like, was that just money laundering?
Like where?
Again, I like the show, so I'm not shitting on it. It's just a matter of like that did not look like $100 million series, let alone 200. Like, I don't get it. I just don't. But also, he also puts in his thing here for Dark Tower word count. Approximately 1,358,065 words. I don't know if I've ever seen that calculated out before. He does put the approximate symbol, so that's probably not dead nuts, but kind of interesting. Up it to 1.4 million words because it's 1.358, so 8 carries up and up and up, and so 1.4 million words. It's a lot. He says Stephen King, on the other hand, has no need for reality. I don't know what he was talking about before, but that seems about right. The Dark Tower is the famous author's attempt at an epic fantasy series along the lines of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, although he infuses it with his own flair for the horrific and strange. It's set in a fantasy world where the power of magic lingers, but there's also the remains of technologically advanced societies, and a lot in common with the American Old West. This world is coming apart. Time does not flow in an ordinary fashion. Nations tear themselves apart in war, and sometimes the sun even rises from the wrong horizon. This sounds like a really weird world when you think about it from this perspective. We're so ingrained in it.
Well, when you write it out like that,
yeah, but we just take it for granted. It's just like, but then when you actually see it like talked about by someone else, it's like, oh my god, when you say it that way, that is kind of weird. It says Dark Tower starts with a man named Roland Deschain who belongs to a knightly order of warriors called the Gunslingers. He's looking for a mysterious tower that is said to be the nexus of all universes, which is funny because you don't really find that out until many, many books later. Once we get there, King is able to tie the story into many of his others, connecting his works into a kind of multiverse. Roland's enemy is a mysterious man in black who's popped up in other Stephen King stories. The Dark Tower series started with the Gunslinger in 1982. And seemed to conclude with a book simply called The Dark Tower 22 years later, and 6 books later in 2004. So he does get it right there. So again, he had a typo, I think.
Yeah.
Fans consider that the end of the series, but King has dipped back into the world since then, and it is possible we could get more, which sounds like we are. We're Talisman 3. We're getting some very overt claims that Midworld is back. So that is kind of an interesting way to see other people looking at the Dark Tower series. So let's go ahead and jump on over to we got odds and ends. Let's see. And then we got the first one here, which is alluded to in the chat earlier. The Monkey pushes Stephen King's cinematic universe over a milestone. So The Monkey made somewhere in the realm of $68 million worldwide. Of course, it's a cheap horror movie, so that doesn't sound like a lot when you think about Marvel and all this other shit. But for the kind of movie that it was and the budget it had, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But at one point I saw a thing saying that all the Monkey needed to get was $56 million something total to push the Stephen King cinematic universe over up into $3 billion total that Stephen King films have made over the years. It was like 2.9 something billion. So it was like if The Monkey can make 50 million, it'll push King's cinematic universe into the 3 billion.
It made 68
and
million.
it hit 68 the last
Yeah.
I checked. So, the Stephen King cinematic universe. Now, I did see the thing I was looking at this, and I found this on. They're like, to give context, this one Avatar movie made 2.9 billion. I was like, shut up.
You just shut your dirty mouth.
You know, it is wild how little King's stuff has made money.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I think the problem is so much of like the really iconic shit came from in a long time ago, and
I wonder
you
wonder what those would be if you adjusted
adjust.
them
Yeah,
for
because you don't.
inflation.
Yeah, you don't adjust for inflation, which is always kind of sucks. But also, it just feel like I don't know. It's just wild to me. I remember when going into 2017, I remember us talking about like the champion for the Stephen King box office was like 50 or 60 million, something
It's
crazy
It?
low like
Yeah.
that. No, but it came out after.
Oh,
it came out
yeah.
late 2017. That one is now the champion with 700 and something million. So either way, it's pretty crazy that Stephen King's cinematic universe has now punctured into the $3 billion range.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And The Monkey did it. So, and it's, of course, we got more to come with 3 more films coming this year.
Okay, I've been exploring with ChatGPT recently. I don't know if you saw my profile picture that I changed
Skynet.
and everything.
No, in the chat.
No. On Facebook and Instagram. I converted myself into a Muppet, so I found out that you could do that, and I went and did it. It's glorious, dude. It's a great picture. Stanley Kubrick, The Shining, grossed approximately $47.3 million worldwide. That includes the 45.6. I asked ChatGPT, "Can you adjust that for inflation, please?" I always say please because
Skynet.
I know.
Skynet will take
Dude,
over.
was it you that sent me that picture where it's like the robots are about to kill a guy? And one stops. No, he always said please and thank you.
And see, I curse at ChatGPT. I'm like, you stupid motherfucker! You're not getting this right. You're just
You're
dumb.
just asking for
I
it,
just
Chad.
I rail into it because there's times where I'm like, I'm asking it to do something, it doesn't do it right. I'm like, no, that's wrong. I need this. It gives me the exact same thing. And after I go through like 3 times, I'm like, dude, you are absolutely stupid. I'm like, you are giving me the wrong thing. You're just giving me the same thing over and over. I'm like, yeah.
Don't listen, ChatGPT.
I
love you.
I've gone pretty hard at ChatGPT.
So adjusted for inflation to $2024, The Shining would have made $175.96 million.
Okay, so again though, that isn't that crazy when you consider like it made 700. Like it's just wild because like there has been a growth in movies to where like movies are making more now than they ever have before, even when you adjust for inflation. But it's just wild because there's like classic, Stephen King stuff that just even when you adjust for inflation, it's wild he hasn't made as much as you would expect, because especially because nowadays, like, why is it there's like 25 horror movies coming out this year? Because horror is cheap to make and it usually makes a lot of money back, and it's like, so you would think that Stephen King,
I mean, okay, so here's the thing though, is that it is horror, right?
Yeah.
The production budget, it gave me the production budget for The Shining would have been $70.68 million, so it would have made over $100 million over its production cost.
Yeah.
So that's saying that. The production cost for it Chapter 1 was only $35 million.
Yeah.
And it made $704.2 million.
It's so hard to remember that like they didn't have a green light until after
For It
came
Chapter
out.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because again, they were very trepidatious about the It movies. It's weird. It's weird.
Almost, it's
weird
almost
to
not fair to compare it to It.
No,
like other horror films, because it is the highest grossing horror film of all time, is what it says at the time of release.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just wild to me because it's like that one seemed like a no-brainer to me. Like, it was so iconic from the Tim Curry series that I just felt like it was one where it's like, this is going to be successful. I remember, if I remember right, they ended up chopping the budget too. Originally, they were given a certain budget, then it went down because they're just like, we don't know about this. We went through the first opening weekend, I believe, before we saw a green light for Chapter 2. So it's just like, it's just weird thinking about it in retrospect because I think the It movies have made nearly $1 billion. So of the $3 billion that King's movies have made, It is $1 billion of it. So it's just wild to think back that like they weren't like begging someone to make an It movie.
Yeah.
So it's wild. Hi, Carol. Carol joined us in the chat. Welcome. Sorry, I'm refilling the.
Well, while we
agua.
got a little bit of a pause, I want to bring back something that Baraki talked about, because it is something that I'm not remembering right. He said, I thought Roland explained his quest as early as book 3. I think he explains the Dark Tower.
A smidge.
He explains like the 12, like the
beams,
Shardik with the beams, the bear, the way of the bear.
Does he? I think he's right though, because I do think Roland actually talks about the Nexus, the Nexus element. Now, there's a lot about the Dark Tower beyond that we don't learn until like book 6.
Right.
But you're probably right. The Nexus part and the fact that it's kind of the center of the beams, like that is all revealed early. But
that's book 3. He's 100% right. That is in book 3 because Shardik is what brings that up.
Yeah,
is that he's a guardian of the beam and everything.
Yes.
So I know that.
Yes. But there's it's all the rest of the mystery of the Dark Tower series that you don't find out till books 6 and 7, and it's like, because I remember like the first time reading it being like, "Okay, when the fuck are we going to learn like the full story on the tower?"
What's the point?
Here? Yeah, what is going on here?
What are we even doing?
I mean,
here?
I loved it, and I wasn't like mad. I was just a matter of like, it's wild that we've gone this far without knowing more of the story, right? I don't know.
Yeah, Baraki says, but Peter is right too. The full detail of the quest takes more books to get back to. Like you're saying, 5, 6, and 7 really do shine lights onto what's the point. What are we doing here? Like, and because I maybe I'm crazy, but I think the wolves are a big reveal that they're getting brain food for something called the Breakers. What the fuck's a breaking what?
Yeah.
Oh, they're breaking the beams. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we just find out a couple books ago that's holding up the universe?
Now, I don't remember if we find out that the beams are holding the tower up. Like they talked about the beams converging at the tower and stuff. But do we find out that the beams are holding the tower up until
I think Roland
the
says
Breakers?
That. I think Roland says that.
Like
in book 5, he's like, if they're hurting
but in 3 when he's describing
he's describing it,
does he say the beams are holding?
I don't know if he says they're holding it up.
Yeah, I think
he says that they go to the Dark Tower.
Because I think that was the other part of it to me is it was like we understand early on that he's on a quest to save the tower, but like that's what was frustrating to me too. Is it's like, hey, it's the next to the universe, it's his tower. What the fuck danger is it? Like, what danger does it have against it? Is someone going to
go plant like dynamite at the base of it or something?
Yeah,
like,
and it isn't until book 5 or 6 that you start to understand like, oh, okay, they're breaking the beams and the beams hold up the tower. Like, and then you get more of it, but that comes so much later that it's like when you're going through books 3 and 4 and shit, you're like, dude, what?
Yeah,
give me more here. And then even in the end of 4, when he gets kind of like goes into the grapefruit, like you get some elements of the story. Some pieces get added, but still not enough to where
you're still not seeing the whole picture.
Yeah, it's like, come on, and like I just want the full picture.
Tad just wants it, which is the reason why you hated 4 to begin with, is because it took you away from getting the picture.
Yeah, it was the forward momentum killing that. Yeah, it's why I get on my soapbox constantly online when people are like, hey, I'm reading the Tower series for the first time. I just finished book 4. Which one do I read next? Like, I jump in immediately. It's like 5. I'm like, do not read Wind Through the Keyhole next.
Go.
Because
Move forward.
I would have quit the series if that book had been out, which it wasn't. But if it had been, and I had finished pulling my hair out, going through a non-forward moving book, and I jumped into 4.5, and it was another non-forward moving book.
Sitting down like, we gotta wait for the storm to go by.
It's the end of the series for me. I would have absolutely given it up. And I think King said like read them in the order they were released and stuff, because like I think he's got to understand from a storytelling perspective, you can't kill the momentum 2 books in a row. You just can't do that. There's no way that people are gonna abide by that. So, let's see. I think Roland gives us that in 3. Yes. Talking about that it holds the tower up. Is that?
I think so.
Oh, come on. They do cross a river in 4.5. Paraki. Don't get technical with me.
I mean, and then we hear a story, world building.
No,
right?
I love it all.
You love the world building.
But that first time through, dude, I wanted to go forward. I wanted to get to the tower. So
obviously,
now that's why on rereads I think I find more enjoyment in some of the stuff in like 4 and even 4.5 and some of the others where it's like you're able to really like explore the expansion of the universe. I love all that once I've had the story, but it's a matter of when you don't know.
I think something just clicked home for me for one of the reasons why I love book 5 so much. I think it's the first time we see a part of Roland's world that's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. You go through book 1, Tull is not healthy. The desert's not healthy.
Yeah.
Even the mountains have slow mutants and
I was gonna say the slow mutants are healthy, happy things,
no.
right?
In book 2, you get the beach and the lobstrosities. That there's no indication that that's healthy. For all we know, those are like radioactive monstrosities,
Yeah.
and everything. We have no idea.
They were safe to eat, despite Roland
Yeah.
not liking the idea. But
I mean, they ate him, so that's what you do. Bite back, right? But book 3, even, like, you're like, oh, the world's kind of okay. Look, there's bison and everything. But then the bees. And Lud. And then the big one, the wastelands.
Yeah.
So, and then book 4, you get Topeka, which is fucking dead. And it's just like, book 5, you get the Colin. It's like, oh my God, there is somewhere that's alive, kind of thing. I've never thought about it like that, but I think that's one of the reasons why book 5 is just like, oh, the world's not fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. That's about right. Carol says maybe not so hot take. I don't include it on rereads about Went Through the Keyhole.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like it as a separate.
Yeah.
I do. I just read the Dark Tower series. I finished the Dark Tower series about a month ago.
Yeah.
Is when I finished. And then I jumped back into I'm rereading the Harry Potter series now, which, by the way, I'm almost done. And I had no desire to do Win Through the Keyhole.
Yeah.
But I might in like 5 months.
Yeah, I feel like
might in a year.
Yeah, I feel like for me, if I reread it 5 times, maybe once for sure I read Win Through the Keyhole.
Yeah.
But for sure, maybe 1.5. But either way, there's 3 to 4 times that I'm going to read it that I'm not going to. It's just I just want to mainline the series. I also don't read Little Sisters of Illyria. I don't go read Everything's Eventual. I don't go reread Low Men and Yellow Cuts.
Or Salem's Lot.
I just there is the extended reading things. That's the other one too, dude. I see so many people online that are like trying to like plot out an extended reading order for their first time, and I'm like, just
read the Dark Tower.
And I am in every comment section. I'm in there going like, no, just do not do this. Do that later on. For now, just read the series.
Yeah.
You are going to bog yourself down. Now, if you're like someone that's going through reading all of King chronologically, great. Go ahead and have fun with that. But like trying to build this 25 to 30 something book extended Dark Tower reading thing, and it's like you're reading one Dark Tower book and you got to do 7 or 8 other books before you get to the second. Like that, I don't get that. I feel like you're bogging yourself down.
Especially if that's your first time reading them.
For the first time.
If you're doing that, if this
down
is Chris,
the road.
if this is Chris from Australia who's read all these books, or me, or you, or Baraki, or someone like that
on rereads, and I tell people that too. I'm like, on a reread, wonderful, great thing to do.
But the first time,
and same with 4.5. I'm like, never read that in the middle on the first time. On a reread, if you want to stick it in there, totally fine.
Yeah.
But don't do it your first time, because I just feel like the death of momentum for 2 full books is brutal. I'm like, now on rereads, when you kind of know, next is when Kala, the next, and you kind of know how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Cool, sure, plug 4.5 in there. Now,
sure,
I do still think it works best as like a after the fact revisit old friends type thing. So
yeah, Baraki says, to do that, you're just recreating the pain of how long we had to wait for book to book. Would not recommend. It's fair. If you want to do the real Stephen King,
7 years.
Yeah,
between,
wait 7 years in between book
to resolve
3 and
blame.
4. Yeah.
God damn. He's a monster.
Next time you're in the Reddit comments and you have one, just be like, why don't you just do it the real way and put that in there? Like, in between book 1 and 2, you had to wait 2 years, and in between give them the time and be like, there's the real way.
In that case, you don't even, for a vast majority of people, didn't even read the first book first.
Yeah,
because there was only a limited 10,000 book.
Yeah, it was
release.
when it got put in the jacket of like from this author also.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Well, no,
like, where the fuck's the Dark Tower? We want that.
Well, no, yeah. So, but even when you go back and look at the timeline of it, there was not a mass printing of Gunslinger until like a year or 2 after Drawing of the Three. So there's going to be millions of people that read the second book with nothing but the intro, and then got the second book or the first book a couple years later when it got like a paperback or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, so if you really want to be nuts, read 2, and then down the road
wait
1.
Wait 3 years, then read 1, then read 3, then wait 7 years.
Oh, it's madness. Brocky says, I'm with you, Peter. I love book 5 for so many reasons, but that is one, and you get to see the true relationship between gunslingers and their world.
Yeah, how they acted at their
the
peak.
Knightly element.
Yes.
I feel like the Knightly thing is way more in 5, because I feel like retroactively I tend to like amalgamate that and think that like there's more of the knightish type stuff in like the earlier books. And then every time I read it, I'm like, God, where's like the, service element of like the knight, gunslinger? And it's just not here. Then you get to book 5, it's like, oh my God, yeah, it really gets introduced
there it
here.
is.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, like even like you think about like the Aunt Talitha stuff. Like, like there was more of an element of like, we'll do a little bit here and then we're fucking leaving. Like we're not sticking around because if we do this one task, it turns into 2 to 3, and we're going to be.
But
here
it was
forever.
it was not. They didn't need what is it? Suckle and aid.
Yeah, it
They
wasn't.
didn't need that.
Yes.
They were doing fine on their own. It's like Eddie said, we could find excuses to stay.
Yeah.
But that's not serving the white and being the white.
Yeah.
Not stopping at every little farm and being like, oh, hey, it's time to till this backfield. Here, let me help you. No, that's
Yeah.
not what they are.
Yeah.
But something like the wolves, though, that's preying on the town, that's something that calls for the white.
Yeah. Now, what are you saying that if Roland had found himself in Salem's Lot, he would have?
He would have executed every single one of those undead motherfuckers
Let's see.
and enjoyed
And
it.
Brocky
too.
says, "Eyes the Dragon the same." I still haven't read that because there's
It's so good.
the reason I'm
It's your
holding.
last flag.
It's my last flag, man. I don't know if I can bring myself to closing that off.
I
That's
mean-
just that. I'll have to do it eventually, but like,
Tad, let's be perfectly honest. It's your last flag for now.
yeah, it's true.
For all we know, King is writing flag in the new Dark Tower book.
Be still my heart.
I mean, what if Never Flinch has flag in it?
Now you're toying with me.
I mean,
Now you're toying
Tad,
with
it
me.
could happen. What if we get have we had a talisman version of flag yet? In the territories?
There was someone that I suspected in Talisman where there was like a character I'm like, that's flag. I mean, but I assume that about every
Evil character.
Well, I don't know about evil, but
It's evil.
Everyone that opposes the
Oh, this person's chopping someone's head off. Oh, he's not evil, but he might be flag.
yeah, and there was one that never got
The
disproven.
guy with the whip.
There was someone that never got disproven to me in the territories, I believe, that I was like, that's probably flag, and then it never got disproven. So in my mind, with a tiny little asterisk, that's flag. So yeah,
I mean, what if we actually get like a flag character though? Like he's like, I've made worlds fall to their knees with plague, and it's like,
Yeah.
something like that, dude. I can tell you right now, I better be getting a text from you if that happens.
Oh, indeed.
Robert says on Kingcast podcast in recent Eyes of the Dragon episode, the two guys are trying to get the rights to adapt it.
Now, if someone gets the rights to adapt it and we have it on our list, like that's the point where I'll probably like read it for sure.
You're like,
just
all right, I got to read this
But I'm just putting it off because it's my last flag.
for now.
I don't know. So next up, we've got Welcome to Derry poster.
Oh,
So it's,
dude, that's awesome.
as I'll say, I call it kind of a poster in my notes here because I feel like it's HBO. I don't think HBO tends to do like full on posters because like what do
Yeah.
they need a poster for? But it's art that is hyping Welcome to Derry. So,
Carol asked, I may have missed this, but when is the follow up to Talisman and Black House expected? King
No.
keeps hinting at it.
No, yeah, I think he's pretty much confirmed he's writing it now. But I remember right after Peter Straub died that he said that Straub had sent him a letter kind of outlining the idea of what they might do together for a third talisman. And then Peter died shortly after, so King was never able to work with him. But he's like, I do have an outline from that letter, or some ideas from that letter of what we probably would have done. And then he kind of said that he was like thinking about doing it. But he did say that if he did end up doing it, it would be a very long book. And then over the course of like 6 to 8 months, it came around to where basically King has full on confirmed. I think it was a podcast in the last couple months that King did where he kind of confirmed 100% that he's writing a Talisman 3.
And it's not just a Talisman 3 because he also dropped that cryptic
Midworld.
tweet that it's Midworld and the territories.
And he's
So it's
confirmed
like
he confirmed that they're one and the same, basically.
they're one and the same. So we are going back
So,
to Midworld is what it sounds like.
Two parts to the answer then. So we ultimately don't know, but two parts to it. One, he said it was very long, so it could very well be something that we don't see for a year or two. Now, on the other hand, this is Stephen King. And in the time that we've done this podcast for an hour and 20 minutes, he's probably written an 800-page book. So it could very well be February next year. Am I wrong?
No.
I mean,
I'm laughing because it's true.
Because it's true.
It's one of those humor things where it's like, it's funny because it's true.
King's a monster when it comes. He writes in an so I think you can go either way, because I do think sometimes, especially with a book like Dark Tower or Talisman, where you do have to build on previous books, I do think those tend to take him a little bit longer, because he's got to do the homework and the research of like going back to those other books, making sure that whatever he writes jives. So I'm not. I have a slight hope. I have a slight like pencil idea that maybe we'll get it mid to late next year.
Yeah.
But there's nothing official about that. That's just my speculation. And then on the less optimistic side, I would say probably 27 would be my guess. So
Brocky says, we talk about Stephen King writing Talisman 3 and writing another Dark Tower book. Could they be one and the same? That's absolutely what we're thinking.
They are. No, he's I think he's basically confirmed in that podcast where it's like, oh, you kind of said that, like, it's great to be back in Midworld and all that and stuff. And I think he was asked, he's like, yeah, I'm writing the Talisman 3, and, basically confirmed that the territories in Midworld are one and the same.
Which means that we are officially getting a Talisman 3 that is set in the territories, but territories are Midworld, which makes it a Dark Tower book.
Yeah.
Therefore, Talisman and Black House become Dark Tower books.
Part of the extended Dark Tower.
So where do those fall into your extended read when you're reading through the 7?
I think those you can plug anywhere, because there's nothing up to this point that are like overtly, like you don't have to like set yourself up for Dinky Earnshaw when he shows up, right? You don't need to set up Father Callahan. So I think that one you could pretty much place anywhere. I think we've suspected it for a long time, though. Like when the territories, I remember reading the Talisman the first time and I was texting you. I'm like, this is Midworld, man.
This feels an awful lot like Midworld. Like, what is going on here?
Like, short of us seeing a Billy Bumbler, I'm pretty much thinking there's no way this isn't Midworld. So, but here's the thing I'm wondering, though, man. Now that he's like full on saying they are one and the same, what are the chances we see a Roland Deschain?
Go read what. Sorry, I want you to ask that question, but go read what Carol said real fast.
What do you think? What are the chances we see a Roland Deschain in Talisman 3?
No.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't think we do.
I don't know.
Do we see his father? Maybe.
What if?
Yes, I would not be surprised if we see Stephen. That I don't know why, but that fits more
now,
because again, what we just talked about with like how long it took to see like Roland's world healthy.
Yeah.
If we're going to see the territories and everything like that, I think that would be before the fall and everything. There's a queen and everything like that over a land and everything. That makes me think that the white is premium. I would fucking love it if I saw Steven's dad. If we go backwards, and the territories is Midworld, but I see Steven's Roland's grandfather.
In one of the middle books of the series, we do get the idea that Roland's world is healing.
It is.
So
it is.
What if we get to an area that's a little bit less destroyed?
I don't know. I don't know how you do that if you are restarting the cycle. That's the thing. Is like, okay, well, that's great, but Roland is going to get to book 7. Get to the top of the Dark Tower and go back to the desert.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's erased.
You could
so
cross.
That's why I think it's better if you set it backwards in the past and you have his grandfather or his great-grandfather. Because imagine that. I got to get home to my son. What's your son's name? Stephen. I never caught your last name. It's Deschain.
I mean, maybe. Here's the only thing, and I think you have a button for this, but it's like, there's Roland. But what if we saw the entire quartet?
Just hook it to my veins!
I mean, fucking duh.
What if we saw Oi and Jake and Eddie and Susanna?
And they just tramp through this territories that's healthy and vibrant, and there's no mention of it anywhere in the series.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't see in the series. I mean, book 4.5 proved that to us.
Yeah.
We didn't know all that happened.
Yeah. But they don't cross anything like the territories. They come to a river. Like he said, they crossed a river.
What if it's the territory side that starts to you start to expand more, and you then cross into like Midworld areas where I don't know.
I mean, well, where you could really get me is if we get the early quartet, the first quartet.
Yeah,
Cuthbert, Alan, Jamie DeCurry, and Roland setting out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Carol says, I don't think I'll get the next Game of Thrones in my lifetime, but I can always count on King. Yeah,
That is a fact.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the reason I won't read the Song of Ice and Fire stuff. I can't. I know there's other ones out there that are like that too, where like, you know, the author passed away or whatever and never got to finish. I'm like, to me, there's a part of it. It's kind of like a show, right? No matter how much I might like the idea of a show, if I know it gets canceled a couple seasons
I'll
in before,
never.
yeah, it's like I've been hurt by that by shows I was following real time. Why would I invest myself in something that ultimately ended up failing? Now, I guess that would say though that like, for instance, Mindhunters. If I didn't watch that originally, that means I would never watch it.
I will never rewatch Mindhunter. As great as it is, I can't watch that and know that it ends after that second season, and I'll never get a third. I can't. I can't do it to myself.
I'll probably rewatch it.
I never will.
It's too good, man.
I never will. And I told my wife not to watch it, and she's big on that kind of like suspense, like hunt the serial killer kind of show.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, you'll never watch Mindhunter. She's like, I thought that one was really good. I'm like, it is. It got canceled after 2 seasons and left on a cliffhanger. And she goes, what? I went, yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Agamorphy says, nope, we have a side character who says they encountered a stranger with a very unusual quartet. He had 3 fingers missing in a very stoic manner. Weird. They also had a talking Billy Bumbler with them.
So next up.
So just a passing line.
Yeah, I hope it's more than that, but I shouldn't trust a hope, though. It has forsaken these lands. Next up for the odds and ends, I know we're tangenting ourselves here. We got a new poster for Life of Chuck. Because there's plenty of screen real estate, I did put the original poster as well, the first poster we saw. And then the second one is the one on the right, obviously. That's the new one that just came out. Yeah, it is looking great. It's got obviously a killer cast. Yeah, can't wait to see old Tom Hiddleston dancing some holes into some shoes.
It's Loki and the Joker.
Yeah, and plenty of others. There's a lot of people in this movie.
There is a lot of people in this movie.
Carol says, I was wondering when it was actually set. We did see the entire, we could see the entire quartet. That would be so nice. Yeah, and that's the thing. We just don't know. I probably shouldn't hope because it'll probably hurt me. But like, you know, yes, if we were crossing over to Midworld, maybe we'll see some stuff that's familiar. Like you're saying, it could be something way before, you know, could be something earlier on. But there is just a slight hope of me where it's like, man, what I wouldn't give to encounter our current quartet somewhere along the line. That would be a treat beyond all expectations. So let's jump on over to Uncle Stevie Recommends. So the first one here, he tweeted, or he posts on Threads. He says, "When the wolf comes home." So that sounds fun. By Nat Cassidy. Get your claws into this one, horror fiends. It's terrific. Publishes later this month. Sink your teeth into a classic.
Ooh.
So that sounds fun. And then on Blue Sky, he posted.
So that's a book?
Yeah, that's a book. Then he posted on Blue Sky, very similarly, or about the same book, but he posted differently. He said, "When the wolf comes home, Nat Cassidy. This is a balls to the wall horror novel, which I defy you to put down. It's that good. Publishes later this month. You might want to get your claws into this one." So,
oh God, no!
What?
The cover?
Oh, I'm sure it's a werewolf.
No, it's just a wolf at the top of the stairs.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, that's terrifying. With the beady red eyes and everything. Oh, God.
And then also on Thread, someone posted, quote, "I've never seen an episode of TV like that last one at the Pit. The most intense show since Homicide episode The Subway." And King reposted that saying, "Agreed." So I will take that as another thumbs up from King there, even though it's not his tweet gushing. He is basically agreeing with gushing. Also, I have been hearing from a lot of people, both in my life and as well as online, that The Pit is one of the best shows going right now. So
do you want a summary of that book? When the wolf comes home?
Oh, go ahead.
One night, Jess, a struggling actress, finds a 5-year-old runaway hiding in the bushes outside her apartment. After a violent, bloody encounter with the boy's father, she and the boy find themselves running for their lives. As they attempt to evade the boy's increasingly desperate father, horrifying incidents of butchery follow them. At first, Jess thinks she understands what they're up against, but she's about to learn there's more to these surreal and grisly events than she could ever imagine.
You had me at
And that's
Grizzly.
when the wolf finally comes home. None will be spared.
You had me at Grizzly.
Dude, that sounds great.
All right. So let's move on
David
over.
says he's read a couple of Cassidy's novels and that he's good.
Oh, awesome. All right. Let's move on over to the Palaver section.
All right.
I'll add that to my list. Did you look it up? Did it show like what its length was?
I Googled it.
Oh, okay. You didn't look like pull it up on Audible.
304 pages.
Ooh, that's probably barely hitting my.
Ooh.
That's probably barely.
I don't know if it has an audiobook.
I'm sure.
I'll check real fast.
This day and age, if a book comes out, it doesn't have an audiobook, that would be insane. Like, there's older books like Cycle the Werewolf that we still don't have a thing. Night Shift, another one that we don't have an audiobook for. But, yeah, I'd be shocked if we didn't. But, yeah, moving over to the Palaver section, we had the March Insanity wrapped.
Yeah.
So, we had 2 polls this year.
11 hours.
Okay, so
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's above.
It's okay.
It's above the threshold of 10
Okay,
hours.
We're good. Phew. We were worried there for a second.
Yeah. So we had 2 polls this year. We had the 5th annual Dark Tower poll where we're doing favorite spoken line. And then we started this year is the first time ever we did a parallel poll, which is the non-Dark Tower side, which is the Stephen King side, where we did most hated Stephen King characters. So
Non-Dark Tower.
Non-Dark Tower, of course, yes. Right. So now that's going to be really tough when we get to the most beloved because we're old Flag, get him on there. So let's jump on over to
That's a Dark Tower character. You can't have him.
Favorite spoken line. I would argue he's a stand character, but we ended up coming down to the finals.
Long Days and Pleasant Nights won.
Yeah, Long Days and Pleasant Nights versus Go Then There Are Other Worlds in These. Is that right?
Yeah.
My screen's really small when it's like this. So and then Long Days and Pleasant Nights ended up taking the victory. Any surprises there?
Not really. That is one of the...
Any surprise with the matchup?
Not really.
Okay, those are 2 that I probably would have penciled a circle around where it's like those are probably going to be our.
They were both 1 seeds, so
exactly.
it kind of makes sense,
And those just feel like the most. And like Long Days and Pleasant Nights, like I think I said it on some of on the short videos. This feels like our version of May the Force Be With You. It's like kind of our. I mean, we say it on every episode. Like it's just it feels like probably the most iconic line in the series as well. So yeah, favorite spoken line. It kind of makes sense that this would win. Jake's line, of course, is great. That's in our intro as well.
That's why it's the runner-up,
Yeah, indeed. Trying to think if there's anything else that really we are caught at one for many. Let the Palaver begin.
Mm-hmm.
That was up there as well. And then kill if
You
you will.
Will,
that one is one that I
Command
kind
Me
of.
Not.
That's one that I was
Command Me
actually.
Nothing.
That was one I was like slightly wondering if that one was a toss up for me. Long Days and Pleasant Nights versus that because that's just such an iconic thing. We've had multiple people tell us like that's the one that they're most excited to see on screen and stuff. So like that's probably the one that not necessarily surprised me, but that's the one where I was like, this could go either way.
Yeah.
And then let's go on over to the unless you have anything else to say.
No, that's great.
I've already broken down a lot of it on the short videos, but I wanted you to have a chance to kind of chime in as well.
Appreciate it.
This next one though is the most hated characters on the Stephen King side, and it came down to Patrick Hockstetter versus
Holy
Percy
fuck!
Wetmore.
Patrick won.
Patrick beat Percy.
How?
I don't know. So let's go back around, and the biggest upset in the history of March Insanity, Patrick Hockstetter beat Mrs. Carmody.
If you're gonna lose to the champ, right? That's the kind of the joke.
Yeah, but I was
crazy.
stunned, and then we get to the finals, and like I remember even saying in this short, I was like, Patrick versus Percy. I'm like, Percy was the second most nominated. Well, no, he was second most nominated. Barely was beat barely by Mrs. Carmody for nominations. So I was like, honestly, this should be Percy's matchup here to lose. But I was like, honestly, the Patrick has basically had upsets all the way up the chain. I am not betting against him anymore. So I'm like, this is a toss up 100%. Because Patrick was not nominated more than Henry Bowers. So that was an upset.
Yeah.
Big Jim Rennie. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that's an upset or not. That's a pretty even match. But then when he gets up and beats Mrs. Carmody, one that I thought may win this entire poll, and then to beat her and then to jump on over to the finals versus Percy and beat him is just unreal to me.
Man.
Now, I kind of wondered, and I threw it out there on the thing. I'm like, man, am I missing something with Patrick, or is someone trolling and like heavily voting to just they wanted him to win?
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you?
I mean, the one thing that I would say is that it's he killed a baby.
Okay.
And he's hurting animals.
Yeah.
That's like the 2 no-nos for a character, right? Like Miss Carmody has only one. She wants to hurt a kid. Percy Whitmore's hurting adults.
Yeah.
So when you look at it and you tally up the score, yeah, Patrick Hockstetter's kind of a piece of shit,
Yeah.
especially when you get the full scene with him and the dog.
Yeah.
In it with the refrigerator, that's hard to listen to, hard to read.
Yeah.
Like how he's treating it.
But Henry kills a dog too, pretty horribly.
He does.
So.
But that's not just to see it die.
Yeah.
He has alternative motives to that. So that's it's like Percy has ulterior motives to hurt the French guy, the French prisoner.
Yeah.
And execute him in a horrific way.
Yeah.
But
he kills Mr. Jingles too.
Yeah, he does. Well, he doesn't stay dead.
He's a monster. And must be stopped.
Mr. Jingles?
Yes.
Why?
No, I meant Percy.
Oh, I thought you were. That's what I was asking. I said Mr. Jingles, and you said yes.
Yeah,
so.
Baraki calls it out. Kills the pet rat.
Yeah, he kills Mr. Jingles.
Now, overlooking at this poll, though, I will say it kind of I marvel at that bottom right bracket. Greg Stilton versus Chris from Carrie. I guess Joe St. John. I've not read that, so I don't know much. And then Margaret White there. That's kind of a heavy hitter realm. You know, Greg Stilton kind of went up there, finally lost to Percy because Greg's one that I could have seen going all the way too. Greg is speaking of animal.
Another one that hurt an animal just for the sake of hurting it because it hurt him and everything.
Yeah,
I think that's what's so scary about Patrick and makes him like detestable is that those animals didn't do anything to him. He's doing it just because.
So you think that Patrick's like, I'm not going to say legit because I don't want it to sound like it's not legit, but you think this is like a full win in terms of like you don't think someone was trolling by voting Patrick. You think legit this is like one that he won because
I could see it.
He won it on his merits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's also one that a lot of people forget about.
Yeah.
But once you see the name, you're like Patrick Hockstetter versus Henry Bowers. Like Henry's bad, yeah, but he's being manipulated by Pennywise.
And he's abused by his dad.
Patrick's not.
Yeah.
Patrick comes from a good home. Patrick.
Yeah.
There's no reason for Patrick to be this way.
It dawned on me. I can't remember when it dawned on me. Maybe it was like right toward when the finals are being voted. One hit me that I can't believe. Actually, two that didn't even get nominated, or certainly didn't get nominated to get on our poll. Doosander and Todd from Apt Pupil. How did neither of those end up on our list? I mean, it's fine. Yeah. We have our system, and it worked out the way it did. But it wasn't until the finals that I finally dawned on me. I'm like, I forget Todd. I can't forget his name now. But and then Doosander, like a Nazi that escaped his shit, and then this kid that's obviously fucking evil. Yeah. And neither of those ended up on our list. So let's catch up on the chat.
David said, luckily the guards had a spare mouse in their pocket. And then Baraki says, y'all should do a non-Dark Tower character who has the most satisfying death. Let me go write that down.
Oh yeah, that's a good. That is. I
have a list of
because that would be better for a non-Dark Tower because I feel like Dark Tower you may not have 16 fist pumping deaths.
I mean,
in
there's
the series.
one very good satisfying death in the Dark Tower.
Don't
series,
say oi, sir.
When Flag has to pop his own eyeballs out.
And David says, I'm blind, and Psycho Werewolf is one Stephen King novel that I actually read in Braille before I got into audiobooks. Well, it's probably good you did that because I don't think there is an audiobook for Psycho the Werewolf.
There's not.
I mean, unless there was one back in the day with like book on tape, but like Audible doesn't have one, has never had one. So Agamorphy says The Pit is definitely, that's definitely on my list for sure. Let's see. And then David says, one of my favorites, the one that I forgot to submit. I needn't stake my faith in my challenge of such a thing as you, Sai. That's a good line. There's a few of the favorite spoken lines that we've definitely. It's really hard when you're nominating these things for sure. Agamorphy also says I could have gone either way with number one or number two. Probably could have been either poll he's talking about there. And then the Percy stuff. Let's see. You got that. Carol says I try not to think about apt people. Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so then very interesting that I found this article.
Okay.
Came out at the end of March 24th or so.
Of this year.
Okay. And it was an article that was titled, Stephen King created some truly vile characters, but I hate these 10 the most.
Oh, damn.
And this is by Katrina Rossi from Screen Rant. So
Katrina, are you a fan?
So it's like very, very interesting here. But like, I'll just read through her list quickly. I have one explanation that she writes that I'm going to actually read. Another one that actually didn't get on our, I think he actually did get nominated at least once, was Ace Merrill. Not shown. He didn't get.
I know that name.
from Stand By Me. He's
yeah,
also
yeah.
in one of the other Castle Rock things. I forget which one now, but
Is
yeah.
it Needful Things?
I don't remember. He's in one of them. I don't remember which
Yeah.
one. Annie Wilkes, she made our list. Alvin Marsh didn't make our list. That's a legit pick there. He's pretty detestable. Again, though, King gives us so many, it's easy to overlook some of them here and
It
there.
is.
So, number 7, Margaret White made our bracket.
Sure did.
Warden Norton. He did get nominated, though. I remember him being
Just
nominated.
not enough times.
Didn't get enough times. Greg Stilton, number 5.
Yep.
Big Jim Rennie,
Yep.
number 4, definitely on our list. And then number 3, Mrs. Carmody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. But it's just interesting because I remember when as I was scrolling through this list, I'm like, Mrs. Carmody, number 3, really? Number 2, Percy Wetmore.
Yep. Who's number 1?
Who do you think?
Patrick.
Patrick Hoxton.
Is it really?
It really is.
There you go.
So I was like, man, okay. Like, and here's what she ended up writing on this. She says, I usually give teenagers the benefit of the doubt. Adolescence is, after all, a nerve-wracking time. But regardless of his age, Patrick Hoxton does not deserve an ounce of empathy from me or anyone else. Some might immediately think of Henry Bowers when discussing the human villains of It. The 2017 and 2020 films certainly spotlight him, 2019, but spotlight him as the main bully. However, as the book makes it disturbingly clear, Patrick is far more deranged and significantly less sympathetic than his leader. If Bowers is disturbed and malevolent, he is also has a troubled and unfortunate. He is also a troubled and unfortunate kid plagued by a difficult childhood. Patrick's upbringing does not seem to have much of an effect on his nature.
Yeah.
He's an inherently sadistic individual, responsible for murdering his baby brother when he was only 5 years old. Because that's the other thing to remember. Patrick was only 5 when he killed his baby brother. And he also hurts animals for fun. Few chapters in the history of literature have been as revolting and as infuriating as his. His torture of innocent creatures, one of which is a puppy, through starvation and cold, is what made him, in my eyes, King's vilest creation. So, because I even in the last video, I was just like the short video, like recapping it, I was just a little bit like thrown off from like, okay, he beat Mrs. Carmody, now he beats like Percy. Like, what the hell, man? What am I?
Yeah.
I'll admit I haven't read it nearly as many times as you, so I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing. I didn't remember the brother or any of that shit. So like,
that's the I don't know if you remember why he does it.
because he doesn't like the idea of his entire existence changing.
It's because he doesn't believe anyone else is real.
Oh.
He believes he's the only real thing in the universe.
But he didn't like that the
And
attention
so
was going.
when the brother came, meals came late. He stopped getting as much attention.
Yeah.
And his schedule got thrown off and everything like that. So
Yeah.
that's what he didn't like. Also, I got to correct one thing. She says starvation and cold with the refrigerator. It's lack of oxygen. They're suffocating inside there.
Yeah.
That's so much fucking worse to me.
I'm never going to call it into question. It is the result. It was just part.
Yeah.
There was part of me though that wondered, like, is there just someone that was like voting 5 times a day to like thumb the scale a little bit? But now, like between this and between what you were saying as well, I'm like, no, I think this is a legit win, and I think I just completely underestimated him. And even our nominations, though, he didn't get heavy enough nominations to like to put my focus on him. So he was that Cinderella story sleeper as you look at the March Madness stuff.
Yeah. I think it's because simply is that it's so dark and twisted with him, but also it's such a small part of the book that, like you said, the stuff with Henry, and she said, the stuff with Henry overshadows it. That he is truly evil. I mean, honestly, if you want to look at it also, I mean...
he does get a deserving death, though.
Henry does.
No, Patrick.
Patrick does, yeah. Patrick is fucking eaten alive, so, yeah.
With the eye?
Not the eye.
Doesn't he have the thing that like attaches to his eye and shit? Wasn't
it
him?
Yeah. It's like the suckers. I thought you meant like the big eye. Like
no.
It's just a fucking eye, man. That's all I thought of. Beverly's dad is another one that could be looked at as also being a vile piece of shit. So.
Oh, yeah, that was on her list.
Tom,
but he didn't make ours. Oh, Tom, yeah.
Her
I think
husband?
Tom got nominated, but not enough to make the bracket.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think her dad got nominated at all. So, I mean, it's fine. I don't hold it against anyone because honestly, when you got this pantheon of fucking detestable motherfuckers, like it's easy to like lose some. So,
Carol says we are so in the zone.
I love it though. Good stuff. And then next up. Oh, did that change the screen? Okay, it did.
Yes.
I changed it from studio mode so I could see the bracket a little bit better. Studio's where it splits it up for me. All right, so next up we do have
emails. It's the emails. Tad's gonna read us what people wrote to us.
You know that's not getting deleted, right?
God damn it. It's the jingle. It's the return of the jingle.
Indeed. So Kirsty from Australia emails back. She's emailed before a number of times. So thank you for the email, Kirsty. She says, "Hi, Tad and Peter." Hi, says Kirsty from Australia here. I had to write in because you said the mailbag is empty and I couldn't let Peter think the email jingle was being retired. And then gave a laughing emoji. So I appreciate the emoji there. Oh, man.
That's great.
She said, last year I completed my extended Dark Tower read of 21 associated books, including the 8 Dark Tower books. I know in my mind, as we mentioned that earlier, I'm like, we're going to talk about this again. She said, for me, it was not worth it. It was my 4th read through the series, and I've read every other King book at least twice, so I didn't really pick too much up that I didn't already know. The only new link for me was Dinky Earnshaw. I think that he was familiar, but I had forgotten what the Everything Eventual story was about. I was just eager to get back into the quartet, so the other books felt like they were just getting in my way of that. So,
is that where you got that idea from?
No, that's what I've always. I mean,
you've just always said
that. Especially
okay.
people going for the first time read.
The first time read, it makes
no
sense.
Yeah, I'm like,
that.
this is already a big series.
Yeah,
like you're literally going to take call it what 9. If you want to count like the Little Sister of Illyria, well, 8.5 books. Like this is a heavy lift. You're going to then add to get up to like 24 something, 30 book. Like,
yeah,
what?
Why?
Like, yeah, for a first time, I just feel like you're going to bog yourself down.
Well, it's like Kirsty said, this is her 4th time through. So
yeah, exactly.
And second time through for all the others, too.
Yeah, and rereads, I'm totally okay with you doing it, but yeah, it's just interesting to hear from her that just did it, though, that she didn't find it overly beneficial. She says, I would recommend the extended read to those who aren't familiar with King's other works. They're not essential, but they do have fun with the interesting tie-ins. She says, after the extended read-through, I wanted a bit of a King palette cleanser, so I read a couple of other writings before diving into You Like It Darker. And I think, like everyone else, I was suckered in by Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream, which MVP.
So good.
Absolutely the MVP. And can't wait to see it on screen. I enjoy all the stories, and I don't think there was a weak link, and I agree with that. I think that whole... And it's funny, because I've read a number of his short story collections, and I feel like there's some where it's just like, there's a couple weak links in there. Yeah. And I feel like You Like It Darker, though, was like, no, every one of them was incredible for me. So she says, I've just started my first Joe Hill book. It's a bit too early to judge, but so far it seems good. I'm eagerly awaiting the release of Never Flinch, which I guess we could also point out is our last roundtable until Never Flinch comes out. It comes out at the end of the month, or at the end of May. Or I'm sorry, no, we have one more episode.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Dude, you got me all excited, Tad. You can't do that.
I also, because I've also been like looking like every couple days on like Audible and Simon & Schuster's website because I want a narrator. I want to know who's narrating for us. Still nothing yet. I looked yesterday. And because of that, though, I've actually kind of lost sight of it. For some reason, I was thinking it was early May. But it isn't until like May 27th, 28th. It's late in the month, so never mind. We do have more roundtable. We have one more roundtable until Never Flinch comes out. Hopefully by that
May 27th.
May 27th. So it's way late in the month, unfortunately. But that means we have one more episode. So hopefully by that episode we'll know who our narrator is for the audiobook folks. And then she goes on and says, I've been thinking about getting a tattoo with a quote from The Stand, which is my favorite book. Just curious if you have any King tattoos, and if you don't, what would you like to get? So, yeah, we haven't talked about this in a while. I don't even know if we've ever talked about it on mic. I know you and I have over the years talked about it. What about you? You're still a tattoo virgin.
I am still a tattoo virgin. I do not have a tattoo yet.
Now,
I planned on getting the Ka symbol tattoo.
Yeah.
But it's a little too generic. I want something different.
Okay.
Over the years, I've decided that I want tattoos to be a little bit more like meaningful to me. Mm-hmm. So I think that I'm going to get something that is more about Eddie.
Okay.
I haven't decided what, but it's most likely going to be something Eddie, and I'm also going to get like a Batman tattoo. Those are the two like first tattoos I'm going to get.
For Eddie, you could do like an Eddie quote and then the key.
I could. Honestly, I could just do the key.
The key, yeah. I only have one tattoo, which is now more than half my life ago.
Yeah.
I got my first tattoo at 18. I've long wanted another one. I've just my problem is I'm very picky. I want to overpay for a tattoo because I don't want a bad tattoo.
You follow like tattoo artists like in like England and shit, right?
Yeah, there's one guy in England that, man, I would love to get.
He does like a horror.
Yeah, if you want to look him up, his name's Alex Wright,
Shout
and
out.
he is an incredible talent. Like he's
WRIGHT, right?
yeah, he's got some of the most incredible photorealistic shit I've ever seen in my life.
I follow him on Instagram because of what you said, and I just like, dude, it's unreal how good it is.
It's insane. So for me though, you mentioned the stand. I do believe on my list of things, I want to get the stand cover with the two dueling characters.
with the scythe and the
Yeah. Like I think that's I mean, it's probably not the most original thing, but I love that. I've always loved that animations or that cover, I guess. So that's definitely up there for me. I wish the Eye of the Crimson King wasn't so much like a cable thing, because I'm all about things like the Crimson King. He's awesome, but something as evil as a cable company, I don't want to get confused with things here.
I didn't even think about that. I should get an It tattoo, shouldn't I?
Yeah, Pennywise.
No, that's not gonna fly with my wife, sir. That's not gonna work.
Oh, you just do like a get one like from an illustration from one of the book covers, then do Bill and Tim, and then find another one, and then do like a Mount Rushmore of Pennywises.
Oh, there we go.
Or you can just do like the different Pennywise, like the clown, the werewolf, like, and do a Mount
Oh
Rushmore.
no, that's what you do. Is you do the clown, the werewolf, the leper, and
yeah, what else?
you could do the creature from the Black Lagoon. That's who kills the one kid.
Yeah.
But you could also do the drowned voice. But you
Ooh,
never see
the old
them.
lady.
My father.
Yeah.
My father.
It's such a creepy scene it's creepy in the book.
No,
but
that's what I would do. I would do Stephen King. I would do Tim Curry, Bill Skarsgård, and Steven Weber. The four people who brought me Pennywise.
Yeah, no, but I think we've talked a little bit over the years here and there about tattoos. I know I haven't talked to you in a long time, because I want to say the last time you were pretty set on the Ka symbol.
Yeah.
Which I think
It's a great symbol. I mean, it's what I use. I think it's what I use here on YouTube for like my. Oh no, I have the turtle now. But like even like that, I used to have the Ka symbol for everything, and now I've kind of changed it up a little bit. So
which
it's
is
like,
fine. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff. I mean, there's 100 things out there for sure. Now, when Flanagan gets his series win, not
Now
if,
that
like when there is a 100% canon Oi, for instance.
ooh, because always best boy.
There's some interesting things you could probably do with Oi. I don't know. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff you could do.
I still want the bumper sticker that says "I break for Billy Bumpers."
Yeah. What is it, Mrs. Todd's shortcut? She doesn't break for bumblers.
No, she does not.
And then she signs off by saying, "Long days of pleasant nights." Kirsty from Australia. Thanks for emailing in. We love the email jingle. But yeah, the tattoo one, I definitely have like a running list of things. And like, yeah, the stand one for sure is big. Dark Tower, I think I'm still kind of like unsure about what I would do exactly. I mean, there's been some people have gotten like, like the Eld text.
Yeah.
Some people have just gotten like a big revolver design and then done that with like the
roses.
I mean, there's roses. I've seen like cool ones with like the keyhole.
I saw one where the guy had the Dark Tower here on like his bicep, and then going down his forearm was Cancan Ray, the Field of Roses.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool designs. I do think it is always interesting with books, because there is so little visual, right? Because your tattoos generally would be visual. I mean, she did say she wanted a quote from the stand.
Oh, I could get that.
What?
The hooded Randall flag with no eyes.
No, you got to do just the hooded one on the mountaintop.
No, the hooded one with the no eyes.
You could,
and he's holding them up to hand, and then you see like he's holding them up to the.
You know what you
spider.
could do is the sewer grate with the balloon coming out.
I could do that.
That would be a good one.
No, nothing in the sewer grate, just the balloon.
Maybe some like the hint of eyes.
No,
The hint of eyes.
Leave it to where everyone's like, "Is there eyes in there?" And just be like, "I don't know, is there?"
I think quotes is an interesting one. Like, like the stand, like "My life for you" would be a big one for me. That'd be a fun tattoo for flag. I don't know. I think you really got to love a line for sure. I think there's some good ones in Dark Tower. I think our poll, there's probably a number of lines there. I think the opening line is probably one that would be a strong contender.
Yeah. I wonder what my favorite Eddie line would be.
Yeah.
Like if I did a bracket with all of my favorite Eddie lines, and then like you made me go through and like, all right, this one or this one, you're a real son of a bitch, Roland, or pull my hair or whatever he says. Like, go through all the different lines from Eddie and figure out what my favorite Eddie line is.
Yeah. You could always just get someone to animate a dead baby and a chicken.
Why did the dead baby cross their? It was stapled to the chicken.
Here's what I want to do. I need a memoriam Ermot tattoo. That's what I need. R.I.P. Ermot.
A headless snake. No. What you do is you just get a little like on your bicep, on your other bicep, because I know your one tattoo's on your one bicep. On your other bicep, what you do is just get a little mound, like a little line of dirt, and then you have a thing, and it just says R.I.P. Ermot.
Ermot. Yeah.
No actual snake.
Or I could just do like the outline of a witch and then a snake coming out from the skirt.
You have no idea how bad it is because my wife sent me a reel about a woman who's like, don't ask me if the carpet matches the drapes and there's a braid hanging out of her underwear. It's like, I'm like, babe, what are you sending me?
Too far, Ted Baraki.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But I'm almost...
Robert says, Peter, your wife would never touch you again with an it tattoo. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I got to avoid anything Pennywise with that.
Red balloon. A red balloon.
I think that would count. I don't think she would. I think at that point it's nope. You're going to get your own place now and move out. We're still going to be married. You're still going to be a part of this family, but you're not sleeping in my bed.
Interesting. You have to pass that by her and see what she thinks about a red balloon.
I absolutely will. I think a quote more so from it is probably where I would end up.
Yeah, if you were
no, dude. You know what I would do?
If you're allowed to do Pennywise, which would you do?
No, if I was allowed to do Pennywise, which one would I do? It would absolutely be Skarsgård.
Really?
Absolutely would be Skarsgård.
He's great, dude. He's
I know what my Pennywise tattoo is going to be. The paper boat.
Yeah. Is there something written on it too, right? SS Georgie
or something like that. Yeah, that he titles it. I think that's only in the movie. I don't think he does that in the
book. Probably not. Yeah.
But I think the boat is.
That's a good one. I have a pin of that on my backpack. I got it from the Escape
I think
room,
that that paper boat might.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah,
I could just get we all float down here on my arm and just,
indeed,
like,
and you just got to do it like multiple O's and like the O's like go like say, float. But yeah, I'll have to think about it further. Maybe I'll think of some quotes for the next round table to throw at you for the stand because that's my favorite book. So I mean, No Great Loss comes to mind.
That's what we'll do, Ted.
MOON.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do though if you put like that spells something or if you just do M-O-
Bobby Terry, you messed up. Just put that and have the messed up. Just like go like.
You know what I'd probably do is there's that one shot from the '90s series with someone having a nightmare in the cornfield with Mrs. Mother Abigail. And he turns him around, and it's like the fucking like scarecrow with red eyes, and you can't see most of his face. That'd be a really cool fucking tattoo.
That would be a really dope tattoo. Put it like right here on your forearm, inside forearm. No, what you need to do, Ted.
And Robert does say he just looked up Alex Wright tattoo. The They Live tattoo is awesome. Yeah, all of his shit's incredible.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah. March Insanity 2026 coming. You guys can vote on what tattoo Tad gets from the stand.
No, but I already have my ideas for that. I was just throwing ideas out for Kirsty because, like, for me,
that's what I should get. I should just get our logo tattooed on us.
Yeah,
that's what we should get. We should get matching tattoos, Tad.
Yeah, it's
me
not a
and
bad
you.
idea. Maybe there's
like the Fellowship of the Ring kind of thing. Just get Hayden's design of our. You know, I'll put the hashtag Ted is terrible over mine, and you just put Dark Tower Palaver over yours.
Maybe we can get maybe there's a tattoo artist in Estes Park.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you just don't think you're staying in the hotel.
I'm not staying in that hotel. You can't make me.
But that is that'll do it for the episode. We're about out of time, and that's the end of our of the list of things too. So
Excellent.
Yeah, good stuff. But I will thank Kirsty. I know my reread of The Stand is coming up here shortly in the next month or two.
He's got the
I'm
itch.
starting to get the itch for it. But yeah, in my mind, I'll try to think of some stuff before the next roundtable, and I'll throw out some other ideas that may come to mind. I also gotta understand who I guess your favorite characters are too. That'd be a big part of it because it's like for me, there might be many tattoos that would not work for everyone.
No.
I know a lot of my ideas you wouldn't like, but the cover one for me is
If I got
almost a certainty.
If I got a tattoo from The Stand, I would want the 4 of them walking down the highway: Glenn, Ralph, Stu, and Larry.
Yeah,
Guitar
5.
in his back with Kojak.
Kojak, you gotta count
Yeah,
Kojak for sure.
absolutely.
All right, so if you want to subscribe to us, you can do that on any podcasting service of your choice. You can stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, all kinds of fun places. You can join us for the live streams here at youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver, like everyone that joined us here in the chat. Find the show notes over at darktowerpalaver.com. I'll have all the stuff I covered in this episode, including the trailer for there it is. For Life of Chuck, I do have the link for that, so I'll put that in the show notes. All the stuff that we covered in this episode will be over there for that. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/DarkTowerPalaver. We have our monthly hangout. We just discussed the Dead Zone movie, and we got Billy Summers coming up next month. And then you get access to our Discord server where you can chat all the time, you know.
I haven't been getting anything on that. Is there stuff going on in there?
Yeah, something just came through today. Somebody hit us up and said they like that the Geekery Abide shows most of our schedule through the next couple months. So you may have to check your settings, your notification settings.
I thought I turned them back on, but I'll have to check.
But if you want to contact the show like Kirsty did, you could do it a number of ways. Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
Email us, show@darktowerpalaver.com. Check us out on Threads or Instagram, darktowerpalaver, all one word, no spaces. And then our blue sky is at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then our Twitter is at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. Facebook.com/darktowerpalavers, where you'll find us there. And then get our merchandise, tpublic.com/user/darktowerpalaver. Get yourself a hashtag tat is terrible, and then go get it tattooed on you, like I'm going to do.
No, I'd be down with doing a...
I'd absolutely do that logo.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be a cool little logo to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put that, and then I'll put a Eddie quote under it.
Yeah.
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 And then you put a Roland quote under it.
Or flag quote.
Flag's just the word.
Or just oi equals dish rag.
Should I do a Mordred quote?
Oi equals dish rag. Or I'll have someone animate oi on the branch.
Oh.
All right. With that, I will say R.I.P. Ermont as I sign off by saying, as I always do, long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for being part of it.
So many people. It's awesome.
You guys are awesome. Yeah, love having you all here. Appreciate you guys a ton. We'll be back for Geekery Abides in a few minutes. If not, we'll be back in a fortnight for the next step in Wizard and Glass.
We're going to be talking Chernobyl on Geekery Abides.
Chernobyl for Geekery Abides, yeah. Can't wait for that. But yeah, until then, we'll see you guys later, and long days and pleasant nights.
Bye, everyone.